executive producer decided they want a redhead instead of a blonde.
This is like, I feel like you're telling me the soccer story.
Be healed in Jesus' name, keeps walking. And they put the wheelchair down, legs start shaking, and then he like slowly stands up. She has always loved me, and she'll openly say that, I always loved you.
What did that do to you, being loved in that sort of nature?
Everybody dreams of.
Did you fall out of love with yourself? And when did that come back?
Definitely stopped loving myself, and definitely had some dark moments, laying in bed awake at night, knowing what I was doing with my life.
You traveled to Nigeria twice to film a documentary there, and you even had an AK-47 pointed at your face, in which the producer paid the guy $20 to lower the weapon and leave you alone.
So that's a different story.
Hey, I didn't mean to interrupt the podcast so quickly, but if you could do me a favor, subscribe and share with a friend. We have hundreds of thousands of views, and it turns out that only 60% of the people that are watching this actually subscribe. So we need the rest of you to subscribe because it allows us to show proof of viewership. And when we do that, we get better guests on the show. Also, down below, you're going to see a link to our website. There's going to be a free manuscript on there called Forged into Man. It's a manuscript that we created with the 10 things you need to know to be forged into man. Everything that we talk about with all the guests that we've ever sat with is included in this manuscript. But here's the kicker. It's a 20-minute read, just a simple 20-minute read that's going to help you for the rest of your life. I hope you enjoy it. Now enjoy the rest of the podcast. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Forged into Man. Today, we have the great pleasure of sitting with Matt Huston, who was born in Phoenix, Arizona, moved to Fort Lauderdale when he was 4 years old, grew up attending private schools, including Calvary Christian Academy, where he became part of just the second graduating class. He grew up in a stable, faith-filled home. His parents, still married today, still together, 39 years, which is an incredible blessing. Soccer became his identity very early in life. He played semi-pro and was in serious talks with a player from the LA Galaxy who believed that Matt had what it took to make it professionally. In the middle of that process, though, tore an ACL. He went to recovery, came back, then tore another one. That kind of changed things for him. In high school, he went to a production class, movies, and fell in love with movies. As a matter of fact, so much so that he went to college and majored in movie production and film, and even took an entire class on the one and only Spielberg.
The best.
The best. And you're famously noted for saying, sorry, Mom, for going to school for these types of things.
Yeah.
Right? You end up in LA, and you end up as a production assistant on Ballers on HBO. I love that show, by the way. Writer's assistant on Dave Makes Man on OWN, and acted in Them on Amazon, and numerous other projects. Wrote and produced included the Green Lantern short, How, modeled with Ray Agency, and built a real estate license in both California and Florida. You worked in the Bahamas repeatedly. Nassau is my home away from home. You've been quoted saying.
Special place for me.
Yeah. You traveled to Nigeria twice to film a documentary there, and you even had an AK-47 pointed at your face, in which the producer paid the guy $20 to lower the weapon and leave you alone.
Yep.
I want to talk about this former Disney artist. We're going to get into him, who changed your entire idea of being in Miami or being in California, and changing and shifting where you needed to be because you felt like California was your space. Mm-hmm. Of course, until COVID hit, changed everything. And then, of course, if we can't add insult on injury, the SAG-AFTRA took a strike.
Yep.
They decided they didn't want to write or work or anything like that, mm-hmm. and they were trying to make a point. You totaled your car, and you got divorced all in the same time.
Yep.
Which literally gave you your first idealization of depression. A Starbucks conversation with that same Disney artist friend changes everything. And for the first time, you had seen each other in 10 years. And it became the moment that you understood that LA was done. Packed everything, moved to Florida. And now you're here. Your wife and your son have been left behind until you get settled down here, mm-hmm. which is wildly crazy. I want to talk about what that's like. You're a real estate specialist with Brown Harris Stevens. You had a current listing for $28.5 million. on Aqua Vista Boulevard in
Hmm.
Fort Lauderdale. And there's a TV series in post production, which I definitely want to get into, called Pay Up Hollywood. You created, wrote, and executive produced this. You're married to Jimena,
Yep,
right? And you credit Jimena as the person who helped you believe in yourself again.
it's true. She
That's
is.
crazy. Wow. First of all, I want to thank you for being on the show with me.
Definitely. Happy to be here.
Means the world to me. You know, it's not as easy as people think to get people on this show, right? Like,
People are afraid to come
yes,
here and open up.
you tell a guy, hey, listen, you're going to come here. We're going to talk about everything. Come be an open book. And people are like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah,
So I appreciate you being here.
definitely.
Let's take this to the very beginning, because there's so many things I really want to talk about. I'm very curious about your acting career. I'm very curious about how you pushed into the luxury market so successfully. I'm curious about your relationship with your wife, and this like long distance thing you got going on right now, which I'm sure you hate.
Yeah, it sucks. Doing it.
You're doing it, but right,
Yeah.
like there's a purpose fill here.
Hmm.
But you grew up in Fort Lauderdale, private school, two parents still together after 39 years. Faith in the house was strong.
Definitely.
That's not a hard childhood,
Nope.
right? Like, a lot of guys that come on the show, they experience a very difficult childhood.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case for you, but I'm sure that a stable one also has its challenges, right? Just like anyone else,
Yeah, definitely.
So what was expected of you growing up? Like, how early did you feel the pressures of a stable home? Because even though it's stable, that also means mom is like, hey, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah,
This is where you're going to study.
There's definitely
And, like,
pressures for sure. I mean, definitely disciplined. You definitely, especially in a private school, you're kind of like in your own little bubble. So, your whole world and your experience is that private school. My class had in high school, I think 40 kids or something. It was really small.
Oh, wow.
So, and they were adding a grade every year. It was like a brand new school. So, all of us through the whole high school and some of the middle school, we all knew each other because it was so small. All kind of, I guess, similar, similar values, similar families. So, like I said, that's your whole world. And then you go out to I went to University of Central Florida. Then you're out in the real world, and that's it's viewpoints are different. People have different political stances, different religions, different beliefs. So it's your first step into the real world from that. So that was a big jump for sure.
What did your parents expect of you? Like, what was their plan for you? Because I know my mom had a plan for me.
Yeah.
Right. And I did not follow.
I don't know if she had a specific plan. I think her and my dad always just assumed. My dad was very corporate America, did really well. I think by the time he was 27, he was already managing over 1,000 people in his company,
Oh, wow.
doing aerospace engineering, and then kind of bounced around a few different companies, was being flown all over the world. But I think they just that was, how he grew up. You graduate college, you get your 9 to 5, you work your way up the corporate ladder, which is funny because now he started his own thing 10 years ago now, probably executive coaching, and now tells me, I wish I did what you were doing when I was your age,
Oh,
starting my own
nice.
company, not doing the corporate America ladder, because that's where the real success and real freedom in life is.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was just kind of the corporate thing. They were definitely supportive of interests, hobbies. I was playing soccer a lot. I think my dad in particular was a good example of being a good father and husband. He was making a ton of money, like I said, being flown all over the world. But my mom was at home with my brother and I when we were little, just kind of, raising us on our own. And he ended up quitting that job so he could raise us as kids. He wanted to be my soccer coach. So he quit that started his own thing then. That was before the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
But yeah, really quit to just be a dad and a husband and be there for us, and chose that over all the money, which I think was a good example for me.
Yeah. It's
But
huge.
then, as I was going through middle school and then high school, and then everyone's asking, oh, what are you going to study in college? my parents really were pushing for me to do like sports medicine, physical therapy, that kind of route, because I was kind of interested in that from my soccer playing
Right.
and running track and all of that. And and then I ended up in a film class, brand new class that had just started. I don't even remember how I ended up in that class, to be honest. There was 4 of us in that class.
Wow.
um,
And this is at the Christian Academy.
yeah,
Yeah.
brand new. It was he was a I think he taught at UM for a little bit and then came over here. And he had worked on some independent films and directed, wrote, edited, and just taught us everything. We wrote, we edited. I was making music for the films, camera, just all of that. We were casting like the other kids in our classes. And it was kind of like a crash course on all things production. And then he started creating like more advanced classes. So I was just kind of following that as I went through high school. For me, it was just really fun.
Yeah.
And then I think by the time I was in like 11th grade, maybe even as a senior, he sat down with me and he was like, you're really good at this and you can actually do this as a career. And I think that's when I was like, oh, people make money from doing this. Like you can get paid to make movies. And I think that's when it clicked for me and I just decided to go for it.
Okay. When you were at Calvary Christian, being in such a small class, how did that identify you? How did you clear your identity as like a person? You're one of 40 in your graduating class. I feel like you probably still know all these people. Like, you're
Well, because I went to LA for 10 years, I kind of lost touch with a lot of them. My friends who stayed here and kind of never left that little bubble,
right.
they're all still connected with each other. I'm still in touch with a couple of them. Um, but yeah, I think it's tough to like really figure out who you are in that such like a small enclosed environment, and you're just kind of like, well, they're telling me to do this a certain way or believe this or go here for college or whatever.
Right. Right.
So you kind of just go with the flow. But I don't think I was ever someone that was like stuck in like a little group of people, like a clique. Like
Okay.
even though it was a small school, there's definitely the cliques, the jocks, like the nerds, the theater kids,
Yeah.
like any school. But I kind of had friends in all of them. Like even at lunch, sometimes I'd be like 10 minutes with the jocks, 10 minutes with the nerdy kids, 10 minutes over here. Um, and I don't know, maybe that was like early networking without me knowing it.
Without you
But
knowing
it
it.
was
Yeah.
like everybody
You had
liked
the
me in the different
personality
groups.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I liked hanging out with the people for different reasons. I wasn't like, oh, you're not cool, I can't hang out with you. Or like, oh, I gotta be with these people because I'm athletic, so I gotta stay with that group. So I think I'm just thinking about that now, like early versions of me being a people person,
Yeah.
but maybe also showed that I was kind of comfortable with who I was and not trying to like fit into a certain group necessarily. So
And it being a Christian school, obviously they were very heavy faith focused as well. I'm sure you took a lot of classes on
yeah,
Christianity and so forth.
definitely.
How does that shape you growing up? How does that shape you as a person, as a man?
Yeah, I grew up in church pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
And at first you're just going to church because you're a little kid and your parents are
Right.
taking you to church. I think when I was like 13 or 14, that was when I was like, I want to really figure out if this is real to me. And then I really did a lot of thinking on my own and really like accepted that and believed that, Jesus is who he said he was. Looking back, the church was doing a lot of weird things. um, we did like, purity conferences, which were like, I guess good intentions, but basically make you feel really guilty as a middle school boy for being attracted to girls,
Yeah.
like because it's lust and like
Oh,
adulterous,
right.
like, um, yeah, and it was just they almost made you like afraid of sex instead of like really like educating you. Which is funny. I am still in touch with one of the pastors there and one of the principals there, and they both are like that. They were like, "That was horrible. We should not have done that. We're so sorry." And now, thankfully, they're actually teaching like sex is good, sex is
Right.
okay, and like they're really trying to turn that around over there. But yeah, there was that side of it too, which I think is like church culture, especially in like the 90s, early
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah.
Very anti-gay. My brother's gay, so that was hard for him. He wasn't at that school, but just growing up in
Right.
that church.
In the church and
And none of
environment.
us knew he was gay either. But now looking back, like that must have been so hard for him sitting there hearing he's like, going to hell and an evil person
Right.
for what he's feeling.
Right.
So yeah, definitely not perfect, not a perfect environment. But overall, it was a good experience. It was a good childhood. Like you said, loving family, supporting parents, and when I told them I wanted to do film, my mom especially definitely pushed for something other than that. But when
It's
she,
like, it's like a kid walking in going, Mom, I'm going to school for liberal arts. And,
yeah, right,
you're
exactly.
like,
It's
what?
like, how are you gonna make any money? But eventually when I did it, they were supportive, and it was kind of like, especially my dad is the type of person that's like, well, if you're gonna do it, really do it, and just go all in and work as hard as you can, and don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna try this, it doesn't work. Oh, I'm gonna try this, it doesn't work. So that's what I did, and I just went all in on it.
The film industry is definitely one of those industries that really like it can break a person,
Yeah, almost
And
broke me.
do you think your parents knew that very early on, and maybe that's why they were kind of like, oh no, what are you studying?
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of horror stories of like, from people moving out there to follow their dreams and don't make it, to people who, get taken advantage of by
Yeah.
producers or sexually assaulted, or,
Yeah.
whatever, any number of bad things.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
much of it has
you
been coming
you
out
name it.
recently too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane. You played soccer semi-pro.
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that.
Grew up playing soccer. Played when I was really little. Started, I think, when I was like 4 or 5, and I was so afraid of the ball, I would just cry on the sideline. And my dad would be like, "Go touch the ball once, and I'll take you home." Couldn't do it. I don't know how or when I got over that. One day I was just fine.
Yeah.
And I would start playing. And I was
It
like,
just clicked.
yeah, I was like, oh, this is actually fun. And then, growing up in those schools, they weren't great schools for sports, especially being a new school, that one in particular. So it really wasn't till I got to college. I was always good at it. I loved it. I played on a club team in middle school, just a city team. So we'd travel around. And then in college, I started playing like 6 hours a day sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Joining different leagues. I was playing futsal indoor. I was joining tournaments, and the futsal's with like all these Brazilians who are just like doing crazy things that I'm like, this is so different than what I'm
What
used
you're
to
doing
with-
at the school
Yeah.
and the club. And
So just learned a lot of like tricks and footwork from them that could translate to, playing outdoor soccer. And then that was like early YouTube days. So I
Yeah.
started like finding things on YouTube that could teach me. And then I was watching, I was always a Man U fan growing up, like when David Beckham was playing when I was little. And then Wayne Rooney, and then Cristiano Ronaldo starting there. Then I followed Ronaldo to Real Madrid, and their team was just insane. And he was playing the position I was playing on the wing. So I would study Ronaldo and just like, not just like what he's doing with the ball, his positioning when he's off the ball, where he's on the field, how he's like watching things to set up the next play. And I would try to translate some of those things to my game. And I just got really, really good. And I was in amazing shape because I was playing soccer so much. So I was like going to class and then just going straight out to the field and either training on my own or joining pickup games. I'd play like casual games with the UCF soccer team, but I didn't join them because I was in the film program, and that took up like so much time outside of the classes because we had to make our own films and everything.
Yeah.
Probably could have done both, but I convinced myself. I was like, I'm not going to make it in film if I join the soccer team. But
let me ask you something on that, because now I'm thinking, right, like you have this crazy, awesome passion for soccer, but then there's this film thing that you're also passionate about.
Yeah.
What made you choose, like, in that moment, film over soccer, right?
Yeah, I've wondered that. I was like, why did I choose that? I think in my mind it was like film has more longevity than soccer.
It was more logical.
Yeah, I think it was more of a logical thing. Like, this is what I'm studying in school. There's no guarantee I could play on the soccer team here,
Right.
but I might not get picked up. I don't have an agent. Um, but I ended up getting really good. Then I joined a semi-pro league in Orlando. I don't even know if it still exists at the time. I think it was called the Central Florida Premier League or something like that, which was basically a lot of people, basically everyone was there to try to become pro.
Gotcha.
So then I got even better playing in that league. And that was, yeah, all just kind of like on the side while I was doing the film thing, which was, the main focus, quote unquote. But I
Yeah.
guess really I was doing both simultaneously.
And when did you go? Were you still in school when you went semi-pro, or is this post
I was still in college.
education?
Yeah,
You were still in
I was still in
college.
college playing.
How
Yeah.
do you do that? Because that's
Um,
seems like a pretty
well, I was
demanding schedule.
basically doing it already, just going from class to the field. I was just going from class to a different field and
Gotcha.
training with like the same people, and then their games were, I think all our games were on weekends, so it was fine. I missed a couple, like if I'd be filming one of my films or working on the
Oh,
set
so it
of
wasn't
something else.
like, hey, if you're not here, you're dropped kind of situation.
No, I talked to I remember talking to the coach, and I was like, hey, like a lot of them were out of college already or not in college, like they were just going all in on soccer. I was like, hey, I'm studying at UCF, like, sometimes I'll have something going on, and they were cool with it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I guess it has the word pro in it, right? Semi-pro. Like,
Yeah.
you're thinking a more stringent.
Which most of those guys were, like I said, either gave up on college or just like,
Because they wanted the
they're
dream.
going all in on it, yeah. And they're like, that season ends, they're trying to find something in between. They're looking up all the tryouts all over the country for the pro teams and like going to all of those. But I was pretty much just staying in Central Florida because I was in college.
And so you're playing semi-pro, you tear an ACL, first one.
That wasn't till LA. I didn't do that till I moved to LA.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So now you've already moved and you're training with the LA team.
Yeah, so I moved to LA in 2014. Well,
Okay.
let me plug some holes for you.
Yeah.
So UCF has two film programs. One is I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head, but one's just like anybody who applies gets admitted. There's thousands of kids in it. And then the other one is a competitive film program. They only allow 30 people in every year. So I got into the competitive film program. I think that was part of like my dad saying, if you do it, really do it.
Yeah.
So I was one of the 30 people accepted. I applied out of high school, didn't get accepted my first year, but they were like, you're really good. Apply next year and you'll probably get in. So I did. And then I got in the second year. So that's why that program specifically took up a lot of time, because we were like, they forced you to make a certain amount of films every year and work on other people's sets,
Right.
versus the other film program, which was just watching and analyzing films, and you had a lot more freedom,
Right.
to party or do whatever you wanted. So also during this time, I had been dating a girl that I met in high school, and we started dating in 11th grade, and just been talking to her throughout the year. She was studying civil engineering, so she could get a job literally anywhere. And our plan kind of always, because I was doing film, was graduate and move to LA from the beginning. So that's what happened. We both graduated. I had been working on a production in the Bahamas, a Caribbean reality show. So we graduated, we got married, we did the wrap party in the Bahamas, came back, honeymooned in Italy for 2 weeks, came back, drove across the country to LA. It was like it was like a whirlwind month.
Yeah.
And we just started from scratch. She got a job our second day there. That's, the things you can do when you study a normal job in college. But I was very grateful because, that income allowed me to really be able to like, okay, at least I have a place to live. I'm not worried about being homeless. And now I can try to get on these different productions. But meanwhile, I was also looking at leagues I could join in LA. So I joined a semi-pro league pretty quickly after I moved out there.
Okay.
And then the same thing I always do, networking, talking to people. Ended up meeting and training with a guy that was playing on the LA Galaxy at the time. And he was like, normally I I charge people and like, I'm their trainer, but he was like, you're awesome. I'm going to get better playing with you too. So why don't we just train together? And then after playing with him a lot, he's like, you're definitely good enough to play on our team. So let me start introducing you to the coaches. Cause I didn't have an agent.
Right.
My parents didn't know anything about, highlight reels for your kids or all that. So I
Right.
was kind of just doing everything on my own. So he's like, you got to do the political side of it, the meet the coaches, we'll get you an agent, blah, blah, blah. So what he did was to get me in front of everybody at once. They were doing an open tryout for the LA Galaxy 2, the semi-pro team. And he was like, full disclosure, this is kind of a cash grab. They pretty much already know who they're taking, but all these people are coming from all over the world, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
And they're paying hundreds of dollars for this tryout along with their flights and hotel and all that. And it's like,
There's no chance.
there's guys from Africa out there, South America. I felt really bad for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they're really good too.
Yeah.
But, the team's already been talking to the agents and they already kind of have their plan. They just want to see how they play in a enclosed, controlled environment with other highly skilled people. So what they get is 2 games. And what they did to me was put me in 6 games. Like 6 games with these people at a professional level all day. I couldn't even walk the next day.
Oh,
I like strained my groin. I was like, the last game, I was like, I looked at one of the coaches. I was like, I don't think I can run anymore. And they were like, just go stand in the goal, which I felt bad for the team I was the goalie for because they're just like scoring like crazy. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm like about to die.
I'm not jumping anywhere. Right
Yeah,
now.
literally, we lived in a loft, and I like had to like slide down the stairs when I woke up in the morning. Like my legs were like done. I don't think I've ever played that much that hard in one day. But it was an awesome experience. I met a lot of people. They liked me and they were like, yeah, let's start talking. Like the academy coach really liked me too. And he was kind of the main one putting together players for like, the next team.
The next team.
And then in the meantime, I'm playing in all these different leagues just because I love playing soccer. And I was in the 7v7, again, like semi-pro level, 7v7 co-ed league, city league, super fun, super chill too. And I tore my ACL in that. And then that took me out for almost a year before I was back.
Wow.
And then I came back and almost to the day, like my surgery was like 3 days off from being 2 years to the day, which is really weird. I tore my other ACL in that same league.
Oh, wow.
I didn't learn my lesson the first time.
Did you, like, they started talking to you, did you ever make it in, or you tore your ACL?
Not officially. I tore my ACL before
it happened.
Before
that was it.
anything was signed. Yeah, if you're signed and then you tear your ACL, then you get access to all their like recovery, their physicians. So that I did it right before.
So
which
waited a little bit.
They were they were probably happy about that. They're like, "Dude, we didn't have to worry about this guy." So I have an issue with turf fields. Turf field is why I tore my ACL.
No kidding.
There's too much traction. This is like a side tangent, but there's too much traction on your joints if you wear cleats on a turf field. But like normal turf shoes, there's like almost no traction. So your options are slide everywhere, which sucks, or just wear cleats and like hope it doesn't get caught. So my cleat actually got caught in the turf and hyperextended my knee. Now they've created artificial grass cleats, which have a little more give, but the cities all want turf fields because it's easier for them to maintain. Yeah. But there's been like a huge increase in ACL tears since everyone's changing to turf, unfortunately.
Yeah. What does that do to you? Like, because,
it was rough.
You're about to get into this team. You've met all the right people.
Yeah.
You played the politics.
Right.
You showed off for 6 games in a row, like till you couldn't walk anymore.
Yeah, it was. And the other thing that was happening there, they're just kind of sitting on the side taking notes.
Yeah.
They were actually coaching me. So they were like bringing me over. They were like, "Hey, you made a really good run here. You did this right. Try making this run next time. Try doing this play." So it was like they were really like, I think, seeing how I took their coaching as well.
Right.
So I was very close. So that was, I think, my whole life I was like, soccer's kind of the side passion. But once I was at that point, I was like, oh, this is really about to happen.
This is real.
Like I remember talking to my wife at the time and I was like, even if I play 1 or 2 seasons, that'll be like bucket list. I got paid to play soccer and then go back to filming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think just having that option completely taken away, that was rough. I wouldn't say I was like depressed, but it was a bummer. I was like, it sucked.
Yeah.
And I'm a very active person, just, not being able to do anything for
Not being
so
able to
long.
move. Yeah.
Yeah, that really
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. I know that feeling. You said that you learned not to take failures as a defeat,
Yeah.
but to feed your determination. That being the clean answer, what's the messy side to that answer?
I mean, the messy side is there's definitely, you know, nights laying awake thinking like, what could I have done to avoid that complete accident? But like, why did I decide to play in that league when I'm talking to a professional team where I could have just
Right.
waited to play with them? So I think that there's always a danger in like backtracking in any moment in life where things are going wrong.
Start questioning yourself, your
Yeah,
decisions.
blaming yourself or other people, being angry, thinking about like, which exit should I have taken on that highway before I got here? Especially when it's something out of your control. Um, so yeah, that I think the good thing for me was I still had film though. Like I was still working on productions. And that happened, if I remember correctly, that happened in between shows. So I wasn't like I didn't lose a job on a show, and I got Ballers right after that. So I was at least able to walk by the time Ballers came up.
You ever thought about coaching?
I've considered it.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun. My stepson has shown an interest in soccer, so I think it would be fun to coach
Nice.
him.
How old is he?
He's about to turn 11.
Nice.
So I think he's at a good age.
It's at that right age. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where he's not just going to be, it's not just a little group running around the ball. Like he'll actually be able to play. Yeah, I think that would be fun.
You said that you visited LA about a year before you actually moved there, and immediately you knew, like, I
Yeah.
belong here.
Yeah, I basically went out for 2 weeks, kind of as like a little recon trip to see like, is this the place where I should move? Is this a good decision? Kind of just checked out the different areas. I had 2 friends that I knew that had moved there. And one of them was working at Disney Animation at the time, not the same as that other artist.
Yeah.
And the other, she's actually a very successful film composer now. She's done like Black Sails, Walking Dead. She's worked with Bear McCreary a lot. He's like a
Wow.
huge composer. And she's done some massive projects. So I kind of couch surfed between the two of them, and they were just getting started in their careers out there, but they had been there 6 months to a year longer. So they kind of already had, this is, where these studios are. This is like a good place to go to meet people over here, and kind of like gave me the rundown of LA. And yeah, I just felt super at home there right away. And I was like, yeah, this is where I'm going to go.
Okay. And what really was it that clicked, that made you feel like this is it? Because I had a similar experience
Mm-hmm.
that I'll share with you off camera, but I remember the feeling that, like getting off the plane, walking through the street and going, why do I feel like I belong here?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I definitely had that feeling where you're just kind of like, you're completely at peace in that area. Like I said, it feels at home. It doesn't feel like you're somewhere unfamiliar, even though it is unfamiliar. I think for me, a lot of it was like the crowd that I was around was very young, and there's so many creative people in LA because so many people are out there for the
Right.
film industry.
For film, yeah. Film and music.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
music, for film, for modeling, like whatever it
Right.
is, there's like such a large group of people there, and there's like always someone shooting something, like doing a photo shoot or designing something or recording something. And I think that was a big part of it too, just being around those communities and like, oh, like I'm one of these people. This doesn't really exist in Florida.
Yeah.
So just having that, and then also I think it was exciting for me to leave Florida because I'd been here my whole life and just kind of, create my life on my own over there.
So you build a decade plus career in LA, producing on Ballers, in writing rooms on David Makes Man, acting in Them, the Bahamas, Nigeria, CFAM missions, modeling with Ray Agency, producing your own projects, from the outside, that looks like a really full life,
Yeah.
right? What I want to know is,
Certainly wasn't boring.
right, what was that day-to-day grind like as an actor, filmmaker? What does that really feel like? Not the like the credits, right? But the
Yeah.
actual experience of living it. What is that like?
In the beginning, it's a lot of, well, it's similar to real estate. It's all relationships. It's all who you know. It's right place, right time. It's like, oh, there's a show coming up. Let me call Matt. We just met with him. Let's bring him on board for this show. And a lot of people kind of like have their little groups and they go show to show to show together in their different departments, whether it's hair and makeup or, production or camera. And they kind of just stick with
They have their cliques.
people. Their cliques. So it's getting plugged into really any of those cliques, whichever department you're trying to get into. And then each one kind of has its own little like ladder you work up. If you're an editor, you do, you're an editing PA and then an assistant editor. And then depending on how it's structured, you move your way up. Writers' rooms have similar thing. Cameras, your camera assistant. Then you work your way up like second AC, first AC. Then you're operating, then you can work your way up to director of photography. So you just kind of figure out where do I want to go and then like target in.
Beeline that way.
Yeah, on those people.
But you're acting, you're
I was
producing,
acting
you're
and writing were my main things.
What was it?
Acting and writing were my
Okay.
main things, and then producing kind of goes along with those, especially in like the independent productions, which is where I was getting a lot of work. I was trying to work my way into the guilds, like the Writers Guild at the time, and the Actors Guilds, because you have to be in the unions to book like, the quote unquote real shows
Right.
or movies. So I got into SAG, the Actors Guild. The Writers Guild, I was always like barely outside of it. It's like this weird circle to break into where like, you need like if I were to sell a script, then I could be eligible to join them. But it's like you need an agent to sell your script because no one will accept. They legally can't read your script if you send it to them, if it's not through an agent. So it's like you need an agent to sell your script, but you need to have someone interested in buying your script to get an agent. So it's like this
Right. It's a
infinite
vicious
loop you
circle.
cannot break into.
Yeah.
Which goes back to relationships. So yeah, I kind of networked my way around as an assistant in different departments, really trying to work my way towards anything around the actors or anything around the writers. Eventually got myself into the writer's room for David Makes Man, so I was a writer's assistant there. And then if you're a writer's assistant over the next couple of years, really ideally on the next season, you become a staff writer. So you go from making essentially minimum wage to the Writers Guild minimum at the time was like $6,300 a week. So it's like the pay jump is
It's
massive.
huge.
Yeah, over the course of a few months
Yeah.
to when the next season starts. So I was like right there, ideally about to make that jump. And then acting, I was starting to get in front of directors, producers, casting directors. I had a good agent at the time, and I was also doing what's called a stand-in. So you're on the shows, and then the camera sets everything, the lighting, and on you, and then you swap out for the actor when they actually film it. But for what I was doing a Damon Wayans Jr. show, so it was a multicam sitcom. And in the multicam world, if you're a stand-in, stand-ins are called second team. So they do something called second team theater, which is all of us, the stand-ins, acting out the whole scene, and the cameras are practicing and the director's figuring out how they want to shoot it because they have to shoot it in such a tight schedule on those shows.
Yeah.
So you're in front of big directors and producers, and they're actually seeing you act. You're not just standing there getting the lights placed on you. So you can really build the relationships that way, and they'll start like, throwing you lines and little parts, introducing you to other people. So so that's starting to go well. I had an audition for an Apple TV show for a supporting role for the whole season. Almost got that. Casting directors were like, that was amazing. You're the best all day. And they knew me from another show, so I know they weren't just saying that to me.
Yeah.
And then the casting assistant called me and she was like, you're the favorite. Like, we're submitting you. Next day, she calls me again. Hey, Matt, so the executive producer decided they want a redhead instead of a blonde, so we have to cast this other guy. I was like, dye my hair.
right?
I'll wear
Like,
a wig. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I mean, actors go through so much
yeah,
change all the time.
you get used to rejection. I mean, it might have been like a nepotism thing. My guess is the executive producer had someone they
Knew that
wanted
person.
to bring
Yeah.
in, because that happens a lot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. But
But
this is like, I feel like you're telling me the soccer story all over again, but this time
it's a
it's on
common theme in
acting
my
and film,
life. Yeah.
right? Like, and then like we can talk about real estate later, but it's the same thing again,
Yeah.
right? So there really is no big difference, but the competition's got to be insane
Yeah.
on the acting
I
side.
only
Like,
choose hard things for myself.
yeah,
There was a study done when I was out there. I think the Writers Guild released it, that you statistically had higher odds of making it in the NFL than being a professional writer.
no
I
kidding.
was like, great.
Hey, real quick, for the last decade, I've been coaching real estate professionals and business professionals in their lives and their businesses. Now, I've decided to take that, shut it down, and shrink it into a specific consulting company. Only work with men at a higher level who have operating businesses. Now, if you are hitting glass ceilings in your business and you're hitting glass ceilings in your life, I want to help you get through them. So if you're interested in having a consultant come in and work with you for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is that you need, reach out to us and I'm so happy to help you out in your business. How do you get into these guilds, right? So like you mentioned something, you alluded
There's
to
different ways.
like you got to sell a script and then you can submit an application.
Yeah,
But like, what's how hard is it? What's the real
it's
process?
tough. So like if again, I didn't make it to that next step because COVID hit in the middle of all that.
But you made it to the
But
Actors Guild.
yeah, so that there's a few different ways you can get a line on a show and then you're eligible to join. Or one of the big shows can cast you, which, that's like if somebody knows you and they're like, cast this person and he'll join SAG.
Yeah.
Um, or what I did, which you can also do, is get to know the assistant directors. They're the ones hiring like the background, the extras. And productions have to have a certain amount of SAG extras, and the rest are non-union, which hardly pays anything.
Right.
So when you've just moved out there, you're doing non-union, hardly making money. But if you get to know the assistant directors, if one of the SAG extras doesn't show up, they legally have to have a certain amount, so they'll make you like a SAG extra for that day. So I think you need 3 of those. They used to give you vouchers. I don't know if it's digital now, but I think it was 3 at the time. You needed like 3 SAG extra days, and then you could be eligible to join that way. And that does open a lot of doors once you join. So yeah, I was a regular extra on a few different TV shows, got to know the assistant directors, and they would call me and be like, hey, Matt, we got an extra SAG voucher. Like, show up. And I'd be like, I'll be there. So
Yeah. So when you say get to know these
assistant directors.
yeah,
Yeah.
like what's this process? Because
Talking.
yeah,
Just-
because in my head I'm like, here's your coffee, sir, right? Like,
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, you kind of learn who's open to conversations and who's not. There are people that just like look at you like you're just
What are you doing here?
trash.
You're
Yeah.
just trying to get something out of
Yeah,
me.
exactly. But a lot of people are very friendly and open to talking on those sets. And they know they started where you are too. So,
Yeah.
they're happy to like pay it forward and like help more people.
That's
come
good
up.
that there's a lot of people like that because
Yeah.
in my mind, when I think about it, I'm thinking of them like, oh, please.
Yeah.
Like, like
Like the toxic.
you just want this voucher, dude.
There's
Like, I get it.
there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those people too. You just gotta, like I said, find the good ones. Find the
Yeah.
good ones. Like this one assistant director, she was like super nice. She didn't even call people extras. She called them background artists, so they all felt better about themselves. I was like, I don't know why you love everybody so much, but let's work together.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go to Nigeria twice. Talk to me
Went to
about
Nigeria
Nigeria.
twice.
What was the purpose of being there?
So I was kind of like these non-union productions. You kind of do a lot of different jobs, right? So I was kind of like partially producing, which is essentially just managing,
Yeah.
and then partially camera operating. Mainly, I'd say camera operating. And I had been working with an organization in Orlando when I was in college called Christ for All Nations. This guy, Reinhard Bunke, a German guy, started the organization. He's kind of like the Billy Graham of Africa, I would say. He dedicated his whole life to helping Africa. So he would go and do his crusades controversial name. But basically preach. Literally hundreds of thousands to millions of people would show up. The crowds are like insane. And every time he left, he would make the cities better. So when they built this stage, for example, he would ship in however many thousands of tons of dirt and gravel to lay a foundation so they could build a factory and donate money to build the factory, and then people could have more jobs. So he was always helping their infrastructure as he went around too, not just preaching.
Not just preaching, but leaving something behind of that.
Yeah. And people loved him. He's like a household name in Africa. People would just walk like 30 miles to come listen to him preach. And they'd be like crying when they saw him. Like they like loved this guy. Super nice guy. But they hired us as the production team to film him, to do a little documentary, because he was late 80s at that time, diagnosed with cancer. And this was going to be his last time ever going to Africa. So they just wanted, to document it. And I don't know how spiritual you want to get on this, but saw some crazy things there, which confirmed my beliefs in Jesus.
Talk to me about it, man. Like, it's open format, dude.
All right. Well, some people would judge.
We're here to talk about it, man.
So there was this guy. Well, first, there was a drone operator that had video that he showed me that he was like, "You want to see the creepiest thing ever?" I was like, okay. And they always, because witchcraft is big in Africa, so he would always do like, come burn your voodoo dolls, witchcraft things, whatever. And this guy had the drone up above the crowd, and he did that at one point, and as soon as he said the name Jesus, this whole group of people just dropped, and they're just like rubbing their faces in the gravel, and they're all bleeding and everything, and they were all demon-possessed people. And that's not the first time I've seen demon-possessed people. And then this other guy, this was literally right in front of me, this daughter and mother carried this guy's wheelchair through the mud after Reinhard got done preaching, and he's trying to walk. He's like on meds and chemo and super tired from preaching. He just wants to go to his trailer and like sleep, and they're like begging him, "Can you just pray for him? Pray for him. He's been crippled his whole life. Pray for him." And Reinhard doesn't even stop. Like, he just wants to go to his trailer, and he just goes, "Be healed in Jesus' name." Keeps walking. And they put the wheelchair down, and the guy's like legs start shaking, and then he like slowly stands up, and then he just starts ugly crying, and then just runs around. He's high-fiving everybody, like us, like the Americans and all these other African people. And then the organization followed up with his family, because they always do this, because people will fake things for attention or media, or try to set them up and be like, look, they're faking. So before they publish anything, they follow up with doctors, medical records, family, friends, with all of them. They have a whole team that does that each time they go somewhere. And it was legit. He was crippled his whole life, and he just stood up right in front of me
that day
and started literally right in front of me. Yeah, it was like I was packing my camera up, and it was like a few feet from me.
What does the preacher do at this moment?
He just went back to his trailer.
That was it?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't look back and go.
This was such a normal occurrence to him. Like,
wow.
He, the stories he had from doing that for 60 years, I mean, and like the miracles that he witnessed, it was like stuff you would read in the Bible. It's crazy. So for him, it was just like, yeah, of course that happened.
And what's interesting is a lot of people will say that a lot of those miracles don't happen today the way you would read them in the Bible.
Yeah.
Right.
I used to describe being with them when I would film, like the closest probably it would feel to being in like the early church days, just because of how those people, their whole life was dedicated to that. And they like really believed, they all had miracle stories. I mean, blind people seeing this lady who had a tumor, throwing up her tumor in front of them after they prayed for her to be healed, like crazy. And he told me one time when I talked to him, he was like, yeah, I get a lot of people saying, why don't we see this happen in America? Why are all your miracles in Africa?
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a good, but his answer was, well, people in Africa actually believe. So,
wow.
It was succinct.
I mean, that's a big statement.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying
it's not true.
Everybody else, right? Like, it's like, belief is a very big thing. Like we all know there are plenty of people who say they believe, but
Yeah.
do they really
Well, it's
or
like
is it just customary for them to say
I think
they're
it's
believers?
harder in America for us to believe in the supernatural. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot more judgment, there's a lot more stigmatism, and I
Right.
think the church has ruined a lot of things throughout history,
Yeah.
um, using the name of God as their defense or whatever, or if their justification. So I think one thing he did right, again, no judgment. People can believe what they want. Jesus is a historical figure. It kind of comes down to you either believe he is who he says he was, or he's crazy. So I believe he is who he says he was, but if you look at his teachings, all he's teaching is to love people. Like literally all he's teaching is to love people.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he was teaching versus the church, which has, it's become political or a power play or, trying to get money from people, or a lot of mega churches doing it for fame now. So
Right. Right.
it's just been twisted in so many different ways.
Right.
But if you really boil it down to like what he was teaching with them in Africa was basically just love people. And he was showing it, like his example to the people was like, we are going to give back to your city and provide for you guys. We're not asking for anything from you. We're just here to share this with you and then leave and make this a better place.
And then at the same time, you'll see a news article come out on social media about how this preacher was dogging somebody out because they only gave $5,000 to the
Right.
church. It's like,
Exactly.
I
That's
can't
like,
believe that's all you gave.
that's
And
why I hesitate to even say I'm Christian, because it's people have twisted it so much.
that's
If
unfortunate.
someone asks, like, yeah, I'll tell you what I believe, but it's just there's so much. It's like, oh, you're a Christian, you must be like that preacher who did that. Like that's where their mind goes. I mean, it's tough.
And when you're doing this in Nigeria, are you doing it as a volunteer for CFAN, or are you doing this as a part of your job? Like this
As a
is
part of my job,
something you
because
get hired to do.
I was freelancing too. So, when you're working on a TV show, the season will last 6 months, 5 months, and then you don't know when the next show is going to come.
Right.
Until you get to a certain level, then you can kind of like, they'll book you out. Some of these actors are booked out 7 years. Their next 7 years are booked out on TV
Yeah.
shows and movies.
Yeah.
I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
But so in my downtime, I'd be doing freelance, working in the Bahamas, doing things like this, going to Nigeria, kind of whatever I could find.
So you're in Nigeria and you get an AK-47 pointed.
Yeah,
at
that
your
was
face.
that was an
how,
interesting
How
time.
does that happen?
So we were just driving back from our shooting location to the hotel. It was the driver, the producer, one of the executive producers in the front seat, and then me and another camera guy in the back seat. The other camera guy was super like artsy, Instagrammy type of guy, like always wanted to get a cool angle everywhere on his phone, on his camera. So we're just driving, he sees a cool alleyway, takes out his phone to take a picture. I don't even know where these guys came from, but they saw his iPhone, and it was 3 of them, and they ran out into the street with their guns, pulled us over. And then we're screaming like, give us the phone, give us the phone. Of course, they're like, you're not allowed to take pictures of us, which he didn't. And they were like, we need to confiscate your phone. And then he's going, I don't have a phone. I don't have a phone. They ripped him out of the car, and he threw his phone to me when they pulled him out of the car. So I'm like, great. Now I'm sitting here with 2 phones. So then they push him on the ground, and then they get in the car, and the gun's like, he's like shaking the gun at me. And it's like this close to my face in the car. And he's like, I know he had a phone. I know he had a phone. And I was like, I don't have a phone. And like, none of us have phones. Like, look around. And then the producer from the front seat just pulled out a 20 and like slipped it back. The guy took it and left. So I learned my life is worth $20 that day.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was
That's
crazy.
something out of a movie.
It's crazy. We also got a ISIS threat, a death to the Westerners threat. They would threaten Reinhard Bonnke a lot, actually, when he went there. So I had to have like an armed Nigerian SWAT escort with me at some point. At one point in Lagos, the traffic is so bad. I described Lagos as a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles.
Really?
The traffic was so bad. We had an armored car in front of us for our little convoy. They were running into the civilian cars and just pushing them Like they're just splitting them. I was like, great, this is gonna make them hate Americans. Like, and we're just cruising right through behind
Cruising
them.
right through
It
them.
was crazy as they're like destroying their cars on the way through.
Oh my God.
was
And what do
like,
people do about that? They just
I
like,
mean, they're yelling, they're honking, but it's like, what can they do? This is the Nigerian military.
oh
So
wow.
it's like we didn't ask you guys to do
Listen,
that.
we don't
You're
realize
just doing that.
we don't realize the world we live in America. We
No,
really don't.
no.
Which always trips
Yeah,
me out when I see people that are American hate America. I'm like,
yeah.
dude, have you even traveled?
Right.
You know,
It's
like,
eye opening when you
yeah,
travel. When you,
yeah,
even the Bahamas, I worked there a lot. Like people forget Bahamas is a third world country because
yeah.
they just go to like
Yeah,
Atlantis
just
and
go
like
to
the
Atlantis to
tourist.
party and have a
Yeah,
good
but
time.
go right
Take the
across
kids.
that bridge and you're in a third world country. It's people don't
Why
think
did you,
about
why
it.
do you say the Bahamas is like your second home?
I've spent so much time there. So I got hooked up with an owner of a production company when I was in college, and from here to Bahamas is like a 30-minute flight.
Yeah.
So I was kind of bouncing back and forth. Sometimes go for a weekend. The longest trip, I think I stayed 4 months there, um, doing all kinds of things in front of the camera, behind the camera, producing, editing. Uh, One crazy trip, I edited 15 music videos in 5 days for their carnival celebration. Another one, we did like all the political videos, like commercials for their prime minister. So
Okay.
we were like supporting his campaign, just traveling around the islands with him. Just did all kinds of things. Voiceover in the Atlantis hotel, like you walk into the lobby and it's like, "Hi, welcome to Atlantis Concierge," blah blah blah, like doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I just spent a ton of time there, and that's actually where I met Jimena at one point.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I was out after work, in the casino, and she was on vacation, and she came up to me, grabbed my hand. I was still married at the time, so I was like, "I'm still married." She didn't speak any English. I hardly spoke Spanish, and we just partied together and like
Where's she
became really
from?
good friends. She's Colombian,
Nice.
so we became really good friends, and just stayed in touch over the years. And now I joke to her, I was like, "Your plan paid off when you first came up to me." So your plan worked out.
That's great. Um, you've been an assistant on a lot of major productions, and
Mhm.
you watched abuse get passed down as a tradition. Um, quoted saying, "That's just how it is. Pay your dues." Right?
Yeah, yeah.
What what does that look like?
The most public one everyone knows is Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
It's basically like that, but people are afraid to say anything because they're
Right.
afraid they're going to lose their job. It's very
It's
powerful
already so
people.
hard to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get even the lowest positions in Hollywood. Like writer's assistant, for example, there's one on every writer's room. So every TV show, there's one open position for that entryway. That's why it took me years to get into the writer's room. Um, so, and then the production and other departments, there's like one or two. The biggest one would be probably office PA or set PA. There's more of those. But it's very hard to even get the lowest level. So then when the executive producer is, saying inappropriate things or touching girls or homophobic with the gay people on there, like nobody wants to risk losing that, which is very sad. And the crazy thing is, everyone knows this was on the show Them. This is where the worst of it was. Most Almost everybody else I met was pretty cool, at least in front of me. But that show was so toxic. I think there was 8 women that got fired or quit. The guy had his executive assistant somehow intercepting the calls to HR from the women talking about his abuse, and he would fire them before like the call got anywhere. Um, and then one of the assistant directors basically are like, they're not necessarily trying to be directors. It's like a common misconception for people. They're really like the onset managers. They're managing really onset safety. They're managing all the departments. They probably work harder and have more hours than anybody else on the set. So one of the assistant directors was gay. He was like so verbally abusive to that guy. I'm surprised that guy didn't quit. I think he was trying to get him to quit
Yeah.
by verbally abusing
Yeah.
him. And yeah, it was just crazy the way they talk to people. And then you'd look up like their resume and they'd be on like the biggest movies, the biggest TV shows. It's like they were constantly working. And it's like, why are we constantly hiring these people when they're publicly doing it? Like they don't care that
Nobody,
everybody
yeah,
is seeing this because
yeah.
they know they're going to get another job from another A-list director. And it's like, it's crazy.
Do you think that's ever going to change?
I hope so. I mean, they even like, for me, for example, on that show, um, this is not like, anything compared to sexual abuse, but they had me, one of the actors had, I don't know what happened. He had like an anxiety attack, had to go to the emergency room. So I had just worked a 12-hour day, and then they forced me to go sit in the hospital with this guy overnight for another 12 hours. Um, and then I had to like come back and do something in the office before I went home. So in my mind, I'm like, well, at least this overtime is going to be crazy. I'm going to make a lot of money.
Right.
And then the producer calls me in and he goes, hey, so I'm like changing how your overtime is so I don't get yelled at by accounting. So I'm going to spread your overtime out by 2 hours a day over the next like 2 weeks or whatever the math is. So I got paid way less. I obviously can't tell them not to do that. That's also illegal to do. So they literally just don't care.
Yeah, they don't follow any rules. Right.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, if this guy quits, he's an assistant, I'll just hire another one. There's
And
1,000
even
people.
with the public attention towards it,
Yeah.
irrelevant.
And the thing, again, if you're working your way up, there's so many people trying to get in those positions. They're like, yeah, if you quit or have to fire you, we'll have that plugged in before the end of the day with the next person.
And then unfortunately, there's a bunch of people that are willing to do whatever it takes.
Exactly. Yeah, I talked to one producer's assistant, and the producer was having them do like their drug runs to go get their drugs.
What the fuck?
I was like, I mean, like, I told her, I was like, you can say no to that because if you get caught, he's throwing you under the bus. Like,
Yep.
he's not going to go down for you. Like,
Yep.
you're going to go to jail and he'll be fine.
Because he's an A-list hire.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, I never thought about if the police pulled me over. I was like, okay. But it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I think that's such a sad world. And I think it happens more than we think in many more industries.
Yeah.
But it's like extra prevalent in the film industry.
There's just a desperation there, I think.
Yeah.
And there's an idolization of like the fame and the celebrity. And it's like, in an ideal world for me, I would be a successful, working actor, working writer, but not A-list. Because I think it might have been Ian McKellen may have said this. A famous actor, possibly Ian McKellen, said, the more famous you become, the more isolated you become.
Right.
Because you can't go out in public. You can't live a normal life. You can't go to a restaurant without people swarming you. Justin Bieber was going to my church in LA, and I remember leaving church with him one time, and he was just getting into his car, and paparazzi were camping outside the church waiting for him, swarmed him to his car, surrounded his car so he couldn't leave, and then he's trying to just like inch out, and then one guy refuses to get out of the way, barely gets touched by the bumper, collapses on the ground, calls an ambulance. The next day, the TMZ article is Justin Bieber plows through paparazzi in front of the church. I'm like, the guy's just trying to go to church with his wife. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
It's unacceptable, man.
Yeah.
So you have this like major career, because I'm listening to you talk, and you had so many opportunities. Like,
I had a lot going on.
Yeah, because
life was going pretty well pre-COVID.
Yeah,
it was on a nice trajectory at least.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people go out there and they're still living in a shoebox trying to figure it out. And you figured it out, like you were on your way, and then 2020 happens.
Yeah, 2020 happened. My wife and I had been having some issues at the time that kind of came to a head.
And you've been together since high school. This is
at that point
15 years
15
or so.
years, so it was half my life because I was 30 in 2020. So literally half my life grew up with her. And yeah, everything kind of came to a head. December 2019, I moved out, which was very, very hard for me. I don't think I realized how hard that would be until I actually did it. And then I'm on my own in a different apartment. Don't have the girl that I was with for 15 years.
I mean, this is the only girl you know.
Yeah.
It's 15 years. You're
Yeah.
since you were 15,
Yeah.
you're
I
30 now.
wasn't dating other people in college or,
Right.
So yeah, really my only relationship experience other than a couple, like I have a crush on this girl in middle school,
Right, right.
Um, so that was really hard. I remember one of my best friends coming over. She's the one I co-created the other show with. And all I had was a rug. All I brought was my computer. I left her everything. I brought my computer so I could work, my Xbox, and then I just had a rug. And then my mattress had just come in. It was still in a box. So we're just sitting on the rug on my empty apartment drinking wine together. It was like,
Wow.
it was such a sad moment.
Your 2020 hits, you lose your career. You're working on a major Sony and Amazon production that you described recently as toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic production environment. What does toxic actually look like on the set? Because people throw that word around, and you are in this crazy toxic position. It looks like the abuse, the drug runs,
Yeah.
the talking down to, the yelling publicly, and all this stuff. But then it comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah. So I left that right before COVID hit, basically.
Yeah.
I had been
So
doing
COVID didn't kill that.
no, well, it did kill that, but I was already gone.
Right.
I had been kind of like networking on the side. I'm going through the separation and divorce process. So I was very sad, depressed, really. The first time I was really depressed while you're working 60 hours a week and you have to show up. And in the middle of that, everyone's feeling this like horrible working environment. Other people are depressed just from the working environment. And then it kind of, it goes down the ladder. If someone's a terrible leader, they're going to yell at someone who's going to yell at the next person, who's going to take it out on the next person.
Yeah, shit rolls downhill.
Yeah. And then everybody's unhappy. Everyone's pissed off. And then that's also when I'm starting to get these really big auditions. And, in a supportive environment, they'd be like, yeah, go take an hour and, or 2 hours, go do the audition and come back. We got enough help here to cover this. But they started saying like, no, you can't go to the auditions. So then I'm starting to lose opportunities. And it's like, well, I need this because now I'm living on my own. So I actually need this job. I can't just quit. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. See if I can get out of there, something that would give me some more, time to go to auditions and just get out of that production in general. And then I left. I can't remember. I think I told him I was going somewhere. I told him I had something to do, but really I was going to an interview to be the writer's assistant for that other show. And I got it, and I drove straight back from there and walked in and told him I was quitting and I wasn't coming in tomorrow. So that was just my last day. And then the next day started in the writer's room. And then I think 2 months after that, COVID hit. So it was short-lived.
Yeah, so COVID happens, kind of kills the job.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you're going through this relationship separation, divorce. Which one hits harder?
The divorce, I think, hit a lot harder. It takes a lot to make me cry, and I was definitely crying a lot. Again, I had never experienced depression before. And like, you just feel paralyzed. You don't want to get out of bed. I mean, they say like making your bed is a big step when you're depressed because you're accomplishing something and it's like getting your day going. I started going to therapy. I had a great therapist, actually. First time in therapy. I was always like, I don't need it. Now I'm like, everybody should do therapy. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But really kind of learned a lot about myself in that process. Learned that I had been a people pleaser my whole life without even knowing it, and really living for other people. And then kind of when I looked back, I was like, yeah, I guess, I don't know if I have a specific in my head, but I would turn down opportunities for myself to help other people succeed and just be way too giving, which is good. It's loving. It's good. But then it's like
detriment to yourself.
You can't pour from an empty cup, which is what I was doing to myself. So definitely had a lot of hard conversations with that therapist about myself and about the relationship and everything. So that was a really, really hard time. Meanwhile, the whole city shuts down, the film industry shuts down, and there's just like nothing to do. So I'm just left at home thinking about,
With nothing, no
yeah,
paycheck,
exactly.
no nothing.
I had to get on unemployment,
No paycheck, no
um,
relationship, no
nothing.
nothing.
That
And
was a
it turns
really,
out you
really hard
total
time.
your car shortly after
Yeah, I
that.
totaled my car.
So now it's no paycheck, no relationship, no car.
Yeah, nothing. And it's just everything was stacking up against me in LA. And then, of course, nobody knew what was going to happen with COVID. Everyone's like, oh, we're going to bounce back. It'll be fine. Everyone had these weird rules. Like production started coming back. It was something like 15% of the productions came back. 100% were shooting pre-COVID, 15% came back. So you have 100% of the people trying to get on 15% of the shows when it was already super hard to get on 100%
On
of the shoots.
100% of the shows.
So it was even harder to work. I was able to like kind of bounce around a little bit, but it was really hard to stay consistent in that. And then they were making all these stupid like weird rules with COVID, like, and if you had like makeup on, if you were in front of camera, they would have you wear like they had people wearing those like masks, like the
Right,
plastic
right. The
mask.
plastic
They would
shield.
flip them
They look like,
upside down so it was around your neck going up so it wouldn't
yeah,
mess up your makeup. But I'm
right.
like, how is this going to block COVID?
It
It was like,
doesn't.
it was just, they were doing so many weird
And
things like that.
California was like next level COVID.
Right. And they just kept like making up like rules like
Funny
that.
story, during COVID, my wife and I did a motorcycle trip.
No, really?
I don't know if you know this or Jen told you, but we did a motorcycle trip during COVID where, I mean, there was nothing to do, right? So we
Yeah.
hopped on the
Why
motorcycles,
not?
and Jen and I both rode. So she had her own, I had mine. And we rode from Miami to Niagara Falls, New York.
Oh, really?
Then we rode from there to Seattle, Washington, from Seattle to Huntington Beach, California. And going through California was like zombie apocalypse dead
Zero,
zone.
no traffic.
Like, there was zero. There was
Yeah.
nothing.
It was
right?
weird driving around LA.
But then we pulled into, I had a good friend that he lives still in Huntington Beach, California. And he's like, come to the house, stay with us for a couple of days. Like, it's going to
Yeah.
be great. And we're like, all right, because, it's COVID, blah, blah, blah. Dude, we pulled up into Huntington Beach. No one in that community knew that COVID was happening.
Yeah. It's
It
like
was
a different,
wide
it's a
open.
different world. Yeah.
It was like it wasn't in California.
Yeah.
It was wide open. I went and got a haircut or had a drink.
Yeah.
Like everything was just normal.
LA was like lockdown. I had to get a haircut in a tent in a parking lot because they weren't allowing them to open the barbershop.
Wow.
Like it was crazy.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah, so then shortly after that, we have 15% of the shows happening. Then we have the writer's strike and actor strike, which is 11 months of no work. We are not allowed to work. If we take a job, we could be banned from the union forever. And they were really fighting AI, actually, in both of those. Writer's strike was a little different, but part of it was people saying, we'll just use AI to write scripts. And then the actors, especially for people at my level of acting where you're not, an A-list actor, they were saying that the studios were trying to say, you have to take mandatory face and body scans when you come in for your part, and we're allowed to recreate you in the future and not pay you. So it was actually legit. The strike was really fighting that.
Wow, that's wild.
Which obviously is not okay to do.
Yeah.
And the studios it took them 11 months they didn't even say they wouldn't do it. They said, we'll revisit it in 3 years. So there might be another strike.
There might be another strike
Yeah.
coming up. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So it's just, again, that's when I got into real estate, actually, because I was like, I got to pivot because this obviously isn't going to happen. And then there became like a saying at 2024, so 4 years into the film industry still not being back, which it's still not now in 2026.
So hold on a second. You just mentioned 2020 has happened. It's 2024. You're still in LA.
Yeah.
You're still trying to make this happen. There's COVID. There's a strike. 15%
I'm
of the industry is open.
Or maybe
Like,
stubborn.
It's got to be one of the two.
In
right?
hindsight, the better decision would have been to leave in 2020.
Right.
Yeah. I had a lot of people tell me to.
But how could you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? How could you know? Like, first of all, no one knew how long COVID was going to take
Yeah.
to, I don't know, disappear or stop being a rumor.
I also didn't think the entire film industry was going to implode in on itself
Right,
as it has.
I remember all of us thinking, like, what movies are we going to watch in 2023?
Well, issue, that's a whole different conversation, but part of the issue is they all tried to do streaming services to compete with Netflix. They all lost money except for Netflix. Now, like Netflix is, they were in talks to buy, what was it,
Yeah.
DreamWorks? They were in talks to buy one of the other studios for like billions of dollars. Even Disney was losing money with Disney Plus. So they were all losing money. So then they started doing mass layoffs. So they're losing people that were making their films. They don't have them, and then they're wondering why they're losing the audience because they're not making films. It's like they're all just
Yeah.
spiraling.
Yeah.
And then they just do remakes of things that already exist because they think it's a guaranteed audience to make their money back. But then the audience is all like, "We've seen this before. Give us something original." But
No,
they don't
and
want
then
to invest in original.
but these remakes were horrible too
Yeah,
because they casted the wrong people or they were trying to change the
there's a lot
entire
of
look.
really, really bad ones. Yeah, and also it's like sometimes a remake works. Most of the time, it's like that thing already exists and is great, and it's like current form. Why are we remaking?
Why are you trying to remake it
Yeah.
and change it?
Right, and change it.
That's the other thing that was
Exactly.
happening around that time. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember there were movies coming out that are childhood memories for all of us,
Yeah,
and now you're looking at it and you're like,
right. Like the live
what is
action
this?
Disney movies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Disney was infamous for it.
Yeah. Disney's still doing it. Yeah, so there's a lot of that. And then, with Marvel, everything kind of became like, we want Avengers. We want the billion-dollar home run production instead of just, late 90s, early 2000s, all these great movies were coming out and they were profiting, a couple hundred million. But they were all profiting. So the
Yeah.
studio, that all adds up. But now they're like, oh, let's put all our money into this one giant film and hope we hit $1 billion like Marvel did. And that's like,
And
they're
that wasn't
just-
working.
yeah. So
I
they all
mean,
started losing more money. It's
Yeah,
just-
I really don't know why they tried to chase something like that because Marvel was one off.
Exactly.
It's a one off.
Yeah.
Like, and even not every Marvel movie is good, right?
Right.
Like, so, but still, you'll go watch it
Right.
because you don't want to miss out on what could
And
happen
they
in the middle.
connected them all. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
and what it means for the next movie, right? Like,
they played that up to Avengers. They played that perfectly. Like
Yeah.
that was like the best they could possibly do with that. And then that definitely changed the film industry landscape a lot because everyone just tried to copy paste what they did with their own IPs, and then the other IPs were like, we need something that's existing. We're not going to do anything original because we got to make the TV show spin-off and this other movie that connects to that world, and they all have their own universes, and
yeah.
they're making a lot of bad decisions over and over again, unfortunately.
So you're fighting it for 4 years.
Fought it for 4 years.
Are you like? I want to talk about your state of mind because you mentioned, being depressed.
Mhm.
The divorce, the car, the this, the that. But now you're like, there's years later.
Mhm.
You've been separated for a little bit now,
Yeah.
or divorced for a little bit now. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what year you got divorced.
Dragged on. I want to say 2023, but we were already not talking, or like,
Right,
it was
so-
just the paperwork of the divorce,
And then,
Took
so
on.
this is dragged on, but you're not in that relationship anymore.
No.
And so, what's your mindset in 2023?
So I had probably 2022 dated a girl that went really well at first, and then she left me for her ex-husband. That was
Wow.
also a little traumatizing. She goes from like, "I love you, you're the best thing that ever happened to me," to actually this might have been 2021. It was like pretty shortly after. Like I could have been a rebound. But it goes from "I love you, you're the best thing that ever happened to me" to "Hey, I'm gonna move back in with my ex-husband. Like, see you later." Like, very fast. I think that was closer because then I was just like feeling everything.
And then also, like, you got sued, like, because you got the car accident.
Yeah. So he right before that, Jimena, who I'd been talking to, we've stayed in touch throughout the years. After my divorce, we start talking a lot. We become best friends. She's still in Colombia. I'm trying to see if I can get her like a tourist visa just to visit me. Knew we kind of had like some chemistry and a connection. Didn't take it super seriously because I'm like, I'm not going to go move to Colombia. I don't know how to get her here. And then one day she just calls me and goes, "Hey, Matt, I'm moving there." And I was like, "How?" And she was like, Well, long story short, she moves here. So she's a documented immigrant, which was that whole process was traumatizing for her. But she moved to America for a chance to be in a relationship with me, because she loved me so much. And then again, I had known her for 8 years at that point. So then part of that is everybody in my life going, she's just using you for papers,
Right.
which
Right.
after a while got really old. Um, and then, yeah, dealing with that. And then, we have to get her an immigration attorney, and she has to do regular court dates.
Appearances and
I'm actually going there in June for a court date with her. Um, and it was like that whole thing. And at one point, this was probably, I want to say she came at the end of 2022 or early 2023. And I just I couldn't get on a TV show. The production company in the Bahamas I was working with to survive COVID completely changed everything essentially and became like a live stage build company just to survive,
right.
which is not what I do. So I lost that work, and I was making really good money with them. So yeah, I lost everything. She had moved here. I had just kind of gotten through the healing process from the divorce, but now I was like, my identity in the film industry was completely gone. I'd started taking real estate classes, but I was like, I don't know if this is going to go well. So I was just feeling very lost. Then one night with her, I just broke down and started crying in front of her. And I was like, I don't, I don't have anything for you. I was like, you moved across the world to be with me, and I have nothing to offer you. Like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with my life right now. And she just looked at me and goes, Matt, if I wanted to be with someone for money, I could have been. I didn't come here to be with you because I thought you were, successful. I came here because I love you, and we can make money in the future. It's fine. And then I started crying more after she said that.
Right. No, you're like,
I
oh,
was
for real?
that was so beautiful. But also in that moment, I was like, she's a good one.
Yeah.
She's she really loves me.
Yeah, it's like keep her.
Yeah, exactly. If you can love me in my lowest point when I have nothing, and you're gonna stick by my side through that, then we're good. We can get through anything.
Yeah. You're are you going mentally, are you thinking, man, every time I do something, I get pushed back even more? And every
Yes.
time
That was a tough one. I was starting to book some modeling jobs too, and I did a couple, but there was also a few bigger ones that were at the last 2 days before the modeling job, they'd be like, "Hey, we're recasting someone else," or "Oh, the job got canceled," or whatever. That was happening a lot, a weird amount. And then that's where I'm thinking are you trying to tell me something, God? Am I what's happening here? Why am I losing these jobs? In that same time, my car got totaled, and Jimena, we had just gone to lunch together, and she was like, Matt, you've been thinking so negative lately. You're always expecting something bad to happen. And I was like, well, look at my past few years. Everything bad has happened to me. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to start thinking positive. On the way back home, this lady swerves into my lane and totals my car right after that conversation. And I looked at her and I was like, I told you. And then she gets out of the car, starts yelling at me, and then sues me and says I staged the accident and I was committing insurance fraud. And I mean, we were on a neighborhood road. I was going 20 miles an hour. She backed out like this, and instead of just going straight, she literally swerved into my lane, hit me head on, then scraped across my whole car, then threw it in reverse and reverse scraped my car, broke the front axle. And she had a lot. I was honking at her when I saw her coming, and she just went for it. So she was probably planning that. Thankfully, there was a girl behind me that took pictures right away. And then she ran over to me. She was like, I saw the whole thing. Take my info. Here's the pictures. But still, that dragged on for 8 months, I think. So that was just it was one thing after another. And it was just kind of am I just going to keep running into this wall, or do I just say my time in LA is done?
All right, guys. So I'm here at Elo Collective, who happens to be one of the sponsors with the Forged Into Man podcast. I've been doing testosterone replacement therapy for probably 15 years now. The older you get, the crazier things get. Correct. But I want to naturally attack these things before they start attacking me. This is not a one size fits all situation, right? Everybody's different. Everybody's built different. If you're in South Florida, it's right here in Coral Gables in Miami, Florida. But if you're not in South Florida, just reach out, and what they'll do is they'll send you that prescription. Right. You'll go to your own lab, send it to them, and then they get like a telehealth call. We can do a telemedicine, correct? Review the lab, see, where it is that that person wants to head lifestyle-wise or, health-wise, what are their goals. I want you guys to take care of yourself. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you so much, David. Bye. What breaks you free?
Of LA?
Well, of the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Right? Like, because it's, future of the story is that you moved back to Miami.
Right.
But what breaks you free mentally? What's that breakthrough that you have that you go, wait a minute, because you just had the conversation. All right, babe, I'm going to start thinking more positively.
And then
this lady.
And then I get sued.
Right. Does this, then you get sued, then you're in that for 8 months.
Yeah.
But like, what's the shift? What's the aha moment?
I had a very close friend of mine, the same friend who I co-created the show with, Sierra. She also had just gotten a divorce. She left LA, and what she was doing was booking shows in LA. She's an actress also. Booking shows in LA, and she would come stay with me for a couple weeks or a month while she's shooting, and then fly back home. And every time she was coming, she'd go, Matt, you need to leave LA. You need to leave LA. Like, I promise, it's so much better. When you book something, you can work here. You don't have to live here. LA's not the same as it was pre-COVID. And, in the back of my mind, I knew she was right. But like I said, I'm a little hard-headed. I'm a little stubborn. And I was just hanging on to I moved out here. I'm supposed to be here.
We were talking about that pre-rolling here, where you said that you had just have this loyalty factor.
Yeah, exactly. The loyalty of
you feel like I'm in this, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I got to stick to this.
For better or for worse, that is a part of my personality. And I can get through this challenge. I can overcome it. Maybe that's the competitive nature in me too. Like, I can fight this, I can beat it. But then there was a guy I worked with at CFAN. He had gone to Africa with me too. So that was the only time I saw him in my 10 years in LA. So I had probably seen him 2 years before I went to LA. We were shooting something, and then I saw him once in Africa, and then I hadn't seen him for probably 8 years. Maybe we'll respond to a story or something on Instagram, but did not have a full conversation with him in probably 8 years. He hits me up out of nowhere and goes, Matt, I'm going to be in LA on Instagram. Going to be in LA in a few days. You want to meet for coffee? So I'm like, sure, why not? Turns out he wasn't in LA. He was way down in Orange County. It was 2.5 hour drive for me. And part of me was like, do I really want to drive? I literally was like, do I want to drive this far in traffic to get a coffee with somebody? Maybe we should just do a phone call. And I was like, I don't have anything going on today. Why not? I haven't seen this guy in a long time. So I drove down. It took me over 2 hours to get to the Starbucks. And we're both, him too. I think it's going to be a 30-minute catch up. How's life? What's going on? Hope things are well. See you later. We talked for probably 3.5 hours at that Starbucks.
Wow.
And it just got really deep. He started asking me about my divorce, about the relationships. He had also gone through a divorce. The timeline was very weird how it lined up. He's, I think, 12 years older than me. And it was he separated and got divorced in line with me. He had a lot going on during COVID. He was a successful artist at Disney, then a director, and then he did the same kind of things with that organization. So worked in nonprofit for a while, and then started a production company in Orlando right before COVID hit. Lost his whole investment in that production company, lost everything. Divorce at the same time. There was a horrible car accident that happened right in front of him and his kids, and the lady died right in front of them. So kind of very similar story in terms of not exact same things, but traumatizing things, losing everything. And he was like, well, you know, I just feel like I need to tell you all of these things happened to me, and I was fighting it, and I was, you know, I was depressed, and at one point I was suicidal, and I just wanted to fight and beat these things and say, no, I can get my life back, I can get my investment back, I can get my production company back. And he said one night I just literally fell face down on the floor and said, God, where do you want me to go? I've tried everything. Nothing's working. I lost everything. Um, and he just said, I completely just said, like, lead me somewhere. Long story short, he ended up getting hired by this. He's a entrepreneur and I think also a pastor, but from the entrepreneurial to the business side, he got a call out of nowhere from this guy after he did that, like a couple days later. And the guy was like, hey, I need a director to start the production side of my company. Would you be interested? And he was like, yeah, but like in the back of his head, he's like, you know, I don't know if I want to do this. It's so complicated, and he's probably not going to pay me anything. And the guy goes, well, I'll pay you $10,000 a month, and I'll wire you the money tomorrow if you start for me this week. And just completely turned his life around again. And now he's doing really well. And he was telling me that story, and he was like, I think you have been fighting this, and like just really like spoke a lot of life into me, I think, and gave me kind of hope again for like I can turn my life back around and like be successful again. Part of it also was like maybe this like the male ego identity was like I moved out here to make it in the film industry or to play soccer, and these things aren't working. So it was like totally losing that identity and feeling like a failure. That was also part of me not wanting to leave LA.
Was it determination, like I'm gonna make it happen no matter what, or was it having to come home with your tail between your legs?
I think it was both.
Yeah.
I think it was the embarrassment of everyone being like, oh, Matt didn't make it in LA, so he's just another person that went out and tried and came back and failed. I think that was definitely part of it.
And was that like mental design imagination, or did that happen, or was it like when you came home?
No one has said that
opposite?
No one has said that to my face.
Right. So like,
so it's probably just my own
imagination.
It was probably me telling that to myself, feeling
Right.
like I was a failure.
Right.
Which I did for like my first few months back in Florida. But that conversation with him really was kind of my confirmation, I think. And then I talked to Jimena about it. She was very supportive, and I was like, I just had this crazy conversation with this guy. Did not expect this to go this way. And he literally, word for word, was like, Matt, I don't know where this is coming from. Call me crazy. I think this is coming from God. I feel like I have to tell you, your time in LA is up. You need to move back to Florida. Like, this is a guy who has not spoken to me in 8 years, didn't know anything about my life and what was going on.
Right.
And that was like so crazy to me because I had been thinking about like, I need to move back, but fighting it. So I talked to Jimena, and I was like, this is going to be a hard conversation. I know you moved here to be with me. I feel like I need to go back first. I'm going to move back into my parents' house because I have to get relicensed in Florida. I have to find a brokerage. I have no idea what this is going to look like. If you come and Jacob come, we're going to have to find a school for him. We're going to have to find a job for you too. And it's going to be like even more stressful. So why don't you just let me go all in and focus on this, and then we'll move you guys here like in a year or so. And she was very supportive of that. And she was just like, I believe in you. I've always believed in you. When you were acting, I always used to tell you you're the best actor, and I really believe that. You're doing real estate. I believe you're the best realtor. Like, no matter which state you go to, you're going to make it. And she's, been my number one cheerleader through all of this, which is very nice to have. And I think a lot of people don't have that in their partners.
No, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. I think it's a very rare commodity to have somebody on your side like that.
Yeah.
And it's unconditional. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not, well, if you do good, then we're going to.
Right.
Right?
Like, we'll stick together if you close a $20 million deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously this got to be one of the hardest decisions you've ever made too.
It was really hard.
Yeah. Because I can't imagine like looking at my wife right now, who I adore and I love spending time with,
Yeah.
and going, I'm going to move to Texas.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to start our lives over there right now. And then you just like, wait here. This is the way it's got to be. Like, I don't know that I could do that,
Yeah.
you know, and you did it. And obviously it's a very difficult decision for you to do.
Yeah.
And Jimena and her son are there, left behind on purpose, obviously, because you want to build this here.
Yeah.
So that when they come into something.
Yeah, and I want it to be an
ready.
easy transition for Jacob too, starting a new school here without any stress or anything.
Right.
And
Right.
for her, obviously, the good thing about Florida, it'll be easier for me to get her a job as an immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but
Spanish is the first language.
yeah,
here,
exactly. I
so-
mean, she's basically a Miami girl. She loves it here.
What told you that this rebuild had to begin in isolation? Like, what was that thought process? Because again, I can't imagine doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a right or wrong way to do it. For me, it was just, you know, we're already like, I don't know how to word this. I guess even the best relationships are a distraction. You're going to put time into it, obviously, as you should. And especially having a kid too, it's very time consuming. And I just, because I'm starting over completely from scratch, and in my mind, knowing how hard I had to work for the film industry, to me, real estate was kind of laid out in my mind the same way. I'm going to have to like hustle and really work hard for this and really go for it. There's a lot of competition and there's no salary. So I think I just was like, I don't know, in my mind, it's like, I need to go with zero distractions and just go all in on this.
You still believe that was the right way to go?
I think I wouldn't necessarily have gotten the listings I've gotten if she was here, not because of her fault, but because I wouldn't have been as focused.
You would have been distracted.
I would have been
Not because she distracted you, but because
just
you wanted to be distracted.
yeah,
by
exactly, exactly. And it'd be easy to say, oh, I'm going to take today off. Let's, you know, have a party day together, or you know, let's go on a little mini vacation, or but now it's like my goal is to get them here as soon as possible. So that just is like a very driving factor to me.
You're over there, you built this life for a decade. What's month number 1 like in Florida? You're back.
Month number 1 was a weird experience. So
like, how old are you now?
36.
36. So
Yeah.
you're 36, you know, you just had this long career. It was
Yeah.
long for a film. That's
Yeah.
like a long career.
Yeah.
And it's month 1, you're back. It's like complete reset.
Yeah, the first month
Ground zero.
The first month sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was studying a lot for the Florida exam. Which is like thankfully half the hours of the California exam. So,
Yeah.
but I had to do those classes and schedule the exam. I was doing the practice exam so I could pass it. Dealing with moving back in with my parents, feeling like a failure personally. My mom was super happy to have me back. She was like, "I've been telling you to move back for years." I was like, "Yep, you're right, Mom." But being separated from Jimena, that was really hard. In some ways, maybe our relationship would have improved over time. I feel like in some ways it's made our relationship even stronger though. And then also what was weird for me is a lot of the places that I've visited now, like I hadn't been there since I was there with the girl that I was, you know, dating in high school. So it was like all these weird memories were triggering as I was driving around, and I was like dealing with those unexpected emotions. So the first month was like a weird kind of whirlwind of different emotions that I was feeling. And then also just turning all that into like, all right, I came here to turn my life around and be really successful in real estate. And that's
How long have you been back already?
A little over a year.
A little over a year.
Yeah.
And it's a grind.
It's been a grind.
Yeah.
It's been a grind.
You were licensed in California though.
Yeah, for about my last 2 years in LA.
Did you do much real estate there? Or?
I was doing it like on the side.
Okay.
But I did dive straight into ultra luxury. So the people I was learning from were the top brokerage there. I mean, on my own, I think I did a couple of rentals, and then I was working with the person mentoring me on some of their deals. So I got a lot of experience. I learned a lot, but I was also doing the film thing on the side, so I wasn't like all in there. And then when I moved here, it was my first time. I was like, I don't want to be on a team. I know what I'm doing enough to be on my own. I know my strategy of how I'm going to make this work, and
And you went right into ultra
and
luxury
I just
again.
went right in. I wasn't like rejecting smaller deals. I was trying to get a $250,000 condo when I first moved here. Couldn't get that. There was a $1 million house, a 2 million, a 3 and a 4 million. Couldn't get any of those. One of them was like, "We're going with you for sure, Matt." Then it's like, send the listing agreement, and it's like, "Hey, our neighbor's actually a realtor. We're gonna go with him." It's a lot
Yeah,
of that.
it's a lot of that.
And then I was doing my door knocking on new constructions, and the first listing I got here was $16 million in Las Olas.
And
So
that came from door knocking?
yeah, I door knocked that one.
That's a whole nother conversation we gotta have. That's a whole nother conversation we gotta have. You're licensed California, you gain the experience, you come here and you start this crazy hustle. And we know, like you said, you've been here over a year. So, I mean, maybe if you had gone into the $500,000 house market,
Mhm.
you could have picked up quicker, but you were like, no, this is the direction I'm going.
Yeah, I
This
always
is
knew I
this
wanted to
is
do
what I
luxury.
want to do.
Yeah.
Like super hyper focused on a niche.
Yeah. And I'm super hyper focused, especially in Las Olas right now. My goal is to become like the go-to guy. Even if you don't list with me, we got to at least take an interview with Matt, or we got to at least call Matt and see what's going on in Las Olas waterfront luxury houses. And then eventually I'd like to expand out, but I'm just hyper focused on that. I've already pissed off the top agent there, so I think that's a good sign.
That's a great sign.
He's got like 2.5 billion in sales. He called me about my $28 million listing and was like, "Nobody knows who you are. You don't have a name here. I don't know who the fuck you are, so nobody knows who you are. You're not going to sell this. Give the listing to me. I'll give you 35%. It's better than getting zero. If you keep this, you're getting zero, and you're not going to be successful here." And he's like, "But if you know me, you'll be successful here." And then he puts me in a text group with his assistant. He's like, "Matt's giving us this listing. Matt, give me the word. I'll call the owner, and we'll go from there." To obviously, I said no,
Wow.
and that just makes me want to sell the listing even more. Send him the just sold. But yeah, I think I take that as I'm doing something right. If I'm making people mad, if I'm making
Yeah.
waves like that, if I'm making people nervous,
Hey, he's pissed off you're in his neighborhood.
exactly. And he's been the top agent there for like 30 years, so I think he sees like a younger guy coming in, and he's
Yeah.
like, "This is my territory."
Time for
But
new blood.
yeah, exactly.
Time
So
for new blood. I've seen that happen. I mean, I've been selling real estate here 21 years,
yeah,
and I've seen that happen time and time again.
yeah,
Like how the new blood comes in and the old blood
right.
gets
And
pissed.
they get scared. Yeah,
But then the old blood has no choice because they refuse to change the way they do business.
right. And I've actually heard that about this guy from a lot of people, where they're like, he's not who he used to be. I want to work with you. You remind me of myself when I was starting out. And these people are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're like, want to trust me with these crazy expensive assets versus this guy who has the 2.5 billion in sales or
Yeah.
whatever he has.
Yeah.
Because they're just kind of tired of him.
You pivot into this luxury world. What do you think you have that most agents don't?
I definitely have determination, as we've discussed. I have work ethic, and that's kind of how I've sold myself. I don't have the portfolio of hundreds of millions in sales, but I can pitch myself as like, I will go out and find a buyer for this thing. I will bring you offers, which I have with my listings. It's up to them if they take it or not. That's a
Yeah.
different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just pitched kind of my personality and my work ethic, and I have all the time and all the energy to put into your listing. I'm not just going to send my assistant to this to do some busy work and tell you we got a few phone calls like these other guys are, because they've got 50 other listings that are at the same price point. So that's really how I've been pitching myself on these things.
Do you feel like the film industry had molded you into
Definitely. You get
what you
used
are
to
today?
you get used to having to do everything on your own. So when I was a producer's assistant, you're working 60 hours a week, sometimes more. In the downtime, I'm not just scrolling. I was writing my scripts, or I was, reaching out to agents or casting directors and putting my reels together for my acting or doing my modeling portfolio. So it's like I'm doing everything on my own, or on weekends, I'm not going out to party because I'm working on some project or whatever. I was doing that in college too. And with soccer, it was the same thing. Like, no, I'm not going to go out drinking tonight because I'm going to be playing soccer. I don't want to be throwing up everywhere. So granted,
It's
I
discipline.
did my fair share of partying. There's a balance.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
balance.
But there's a discipline in that.
Yeah, and I think all of that plays into real estate, because if you don't have that, no one's gonna take care of you and make your career for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I've been able to get these listings a lot faster than a lot of people. And then I'm closing on a deal that's we sold for 5.75. Should be closed next week. And I was talking to one of my friends. He does property management out here, and I was like, in my mind, I'm comparing it to like the $28 million one. I was like, man, I'm so grateful for this. And then I accidentally said, yeah, this one's only 5.5 million or something. And then we're talking. He was like, did you even notice that you said only 5.5 million? Like, he's like, so many realtors work for years and will never hit the
Never
$5
have
million
that.
mark. And you're like, oh yeah, this one's only 5.5 million. But he was like, but that's actually probably good because your goals are so high
Right.
that you're like, you're not taking it for granted, but you're like, you're still hungry to get those other ones. So
Right.
it's an interesting perspective I have, I guess, for my real estate goals.
And you got used to the word no
Yes,
very early
definitely
on
got
in your
used to it.
entertainment
And it's
career.
so, especially with modeling, it's so personal when they say
Yeah.
no, like, but you can't take it personally, but it's
Right,
like,
right.
you know,
Like, what do you mean?
yeah, yeah. What do you mean you don't want to take? What do you mean you don't want to take? If you, it's like, but it'll be like, oh, we don't like the way the shirt hangs off you, or oh yeah, this girl's eyes are too close together, or this
Oh
girl
my
has, I
God.
don't like this girl's eyebrows, or I don't like this guy's, hair, whatever. I don't like your nose.
You don't have red
Your
hair.
nose is too big. I don't have
Yeah.
red hair. It's like a very like mean things that you hear, because you're basically a human prop when you're modeling. Like they're looking at you to see how they can best make money off their items on your body. It's a very strange industry.
Yeah.
So I think you just get used to it, and you're just like, all right, well, it's a numbers game. I'll do the next one, or I'll do the next audition. And you learn how to like find the good in it. Like, all right, I didn't get that role, but the casting directors loved me. They know who I am. I'm on their radar now, so they're going to start submitting me for their things. So it's like you find the positive twist,
Right.
I guess, in it.
Right. And you transition that into
Real estate
what
for
you're doing
sure.
now.
That's how I
Now, let's really talk about it, because you have not left the production writing.
haven't
You
left
have
it. Haven't
you
left it
have
completely.
you have Pay Up Hollywood.
I'm on a
coming.
little side lane, but still kind of going in the same direction. So Pay Up Hollywood is a mockumentary. So we shot it like The Office. So
Okay,
it's like
okay.
the
So
quick
you gotta,
zooms.
you gotta talk to me, because
Yeah.
mockumentary. I was like, okay, well, hold on.
Yeah.
So
I'll
for all know what that is.
yeah. There's mockumentaries like The Office, Parks and Rec, where it's like a fake documentary crew.
Okay.
They do the cutaways to the interviews. And it's called Pay Up Hollywood because in the middle of me being on that toxic set, there was a little movement that was hashtag Pay Up Hollywood. And it was all the assistants that had been taken advantage of or screwed out of their pay or, whatever.
Whatever.
So they were like, Pay Up Hollywood, we need fair pay for assistants. So that's where the idea came from. So the actors we play production assistants. I actually play an aspiring rapper. I rap on there a few times. It was a good time. And then we're on a fake soap opera set. So we have a soap opera, and then we shoot that kind of cinematically. And then when the fake director calls cut, it cuts to like The Office behind the scenes, and we're all the PAs. So we have a really like toxic, horrible producer. A lot of his lines are based on lines I heard.
You've heard in
But we do it in like a funny way. It's sad if you really think about it, but it's comedic. So we're talking to we actually already have a contract with Tubi. I just don't know exactly when it's going to be posted, but my friend Sierra has the exact dates. But it'll be up on Tubi, and we did this very low budget. It was actually crazy when I look back that we did this. We shot 8 episodes in 6 days. So we were shooting 24 pages a day. For reference, most TV shows shoot 4 pages a day of the script.
Kidding.
And movies will shoot 2 pages a day. So we shot 24, which is wild. We're just shooting like different scenes from different episodes to make it as efficient and quick as possible. So people are doing wardrobe changes to make sure it matches. Somehow, through all of that, we have no, like, this guy's wearing the wrong shirt in this scene. Somehow we matched it all up. And then her and I were like the only ones really who had, and the director, who had the whole story in our head. So the actors would be confused, like, wait, which episode is this from? In the scene, we have to like explain, okay, this just happened. That scene we shot 3 days ago, that was right before this. And then you're going into this scene so they can put it all in their head. It was like really complicated, but we did it. We got through that. And then her and I didn't take any payment on it. The budget was so low, we didn't get paid, and we just paid out everybody else. And then the idea is that's going to be the proof of concept. Look what we did in this short period of time with a small budget, and then be able to pitch that to, like a Netflix or somebody else for a real budget and do it as a real production.
How do you get budgets for stuff like that?
We found somebody who gave us the financing for it. He was starting an independent streaming service. And he financed, I want to say 25,000 or so. And that turned into a whole thing. He was like trying to scam us on that, and then his whole streaming service like shut down. He didn't make it because it came out that he was like taking advantage of all these creators and their shows and like stealing their money. The good thing is we never gave him the rights to the show. We licensed out like the streaming rights for a certain period of time, and then we kept the ownership of the show, so everything came back to us. So we didn't have any legal issue with him.
Good for you, man.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Now, I know anyone listening to this story, and if they're just deep in, they know that Matt does 17 things at the same time at full power, right?
Yeah, maybe
like
unfortunately.
The soccer, to this, to that, you're going all in all the time.
Yeah, it's tiring.
But you're still doing it because now you're really working hard to get into this real estate and really pop it.
Yeah.
So you can bring your family home.
Mm-hmm.
But also you're like, filming a show and paying attention to editing, writing, skill sets, hiring, firing, et cetera, et cetera. That takes time. It's time out of your schedule that you could be using for focusing on the real estate business. How do you balance this?
Yeah, so that's been the only thing I've kind of had going on in the production world. My modeling agent will send me things a couple times, so if I book something, I'll take it. But the modeling's like you go for one day, maybe 2 days, and then you're good. But the only other thing in production, I have a couple of producers I'm talking to. One of them is one of the directors from that show, and they came here for a week and filmed a week of me. So I was doing a podcast with BHS that week. I had a modeling shoot for this mobile spray tan company. And then I had all these meetings at my listings and stuff. So they shot that week, and they're pitching. They're still putting that video together, but they're pitching it as a reality show about me here, like underdog story, ultra luxury real estate type of thing. So the only other thing I've had is they'll send me cuts of the little video and I'll give them notes. But really, I would say 95% of my focus right now is in real estate. And then I'm kind of just, keeping my feet wet a little bit in production, keeping my eye on what's going on in LA. But I'm just very, very focused on real estate because I don't want to split my time too much and then slow down this whole process or lose the momentum that I have.
Right. I definitely off camera want to pick your brain on some of that because I feel like you have this very unique skill set that can allow the merge of both things.
Yeah, it would be like the best of both worlds for me, I think. And open a lot of doors on both sides.
Be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jimena.
Let's talk about her.
Let's talk about her. She's been in your corner since you've been officially together.
Yeah.
She's cheered you on. She's pioneered for you. Mm-hmm. She's been through everything.
She has, even before we were officially together. She has always loved me. And she'll openly say that I always loved you. I didn't know if we'd ever be together, but
wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like she knew that.
Yeah. I mean, it was like love at first sight. And again, like there's some people you meet and you have chemistry and connection.
Right.
You can feel that. I knew we had that, but again, I was already in a relationship. I was in LA. And she, just I mean, she was always very respectful of the boundaries and just kept in touch. But yeah, it was definitely like instantly
So
for her.
she's been there before she even had to be there.
Yeah, and
Like she had zero commitment for
always very encouraging and supportive, just even as a friend. Yeah.
um what did that do to you? Like being loved in that sort of nature, right? Because you're going through a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and now you're on the other side of it. You're still kind of going through some stuff, right? Again, you're separated from her, this and stuff. You know, she's
Yeah.
on one side of the country, you're on this side of the country,
Yeah.
right? Like that sort of love, how does that change, man? How does that affect you? How does that
That's tough. I
push
feel like it's
keep
the
you
love
going?
like everybody dreams of. Yeah, just I think just knowing you have that and knowing I have someone who I can call and be like, "Hey, this big deal fell through that was a life-changing commission that I almost had and someone got greedy or someone's ego got in the way and pissed off the other guy or whatever." Um Having someone who can just be encouraging and literally be like, "That's fine, you'll get another one, you'll get a bigger one." And like genuinely believe that, not just be saying that.
Right.
Um, it's yeah, I don't know if I can put into words like how valuable that is and how much that helps.
Um, your faith is strong. Is she the same?
Yeah, I mean, like the other day, this closing has stressed me out. You know how it is with real estate. There's so many personalities. Sometimes it's really easy to work with, and sometimes it's like every item is a deal breaker, threatening to cancel the contract. This,
Right.
this one's one of those. And I was like really stressed the other day, and she was like, "Look, all you have to do is trust God. You've done everything you can. You've done everything right. Like God will take care of the rest." So she's right there with me in that, and I think having the same belief is important too.
And your faith, you mentioned earlier that like even sometimes you're afraid to say you're Christian because of
Yeah,
what you've seen and the nuances of what's happening in church and Christianity and
yeah.
so forth and so on. So how do you guys what's faith like at home? Like
I
what's that
mean,
feel
we'll
to you?
we'll we'll pray together. I don't know how often. We don't have like a schedule. I mean, like growing up, I would see my parents when I was a little kid. Like wake up, I would wake up to get ready for school, and my parents would be doing like a little devotion, reading the Bible, and praying together. And they had like a schedule. I think just my life in general with all my jobs, I've never had the like this is my exact schedule every day because
Right.
it's all of them have been so different. Um, so yeah, we don't necessarily have something like that, but I mean, we've prayed together. We'll talk about deep things and have those spiritual talks sometimes if it's the moment for that. We just kind of let it happen naturally. It's not like a planned out. Let's have our family meeting at this time type of thing. And we'll go to church together too.
Yeah. What do you say to the man? Because there are men who maybe fall in line with you, but now faith is not a factor, right? Because for a lot of guys, that grew up in church, but then saw how it was internally, and they're going, "This is not right. I'm going to walk away from this."
Yeah,
And
totally
and a
fair.
lot of times they walk away completely, like faith,
Yeah,
everything. They put God on the back burner.
yeah.
But you didn't do that,
I just don't know how people go through life without God or without something to believe in.
right?
There's just like sometimes life just sucks and it's totally out of your control and bad things are happening and it's a lot of times it's not your fault or the age old question why do bad things happen to good people? Um, I just don't know how people get through some moments without something to believe in.
Right.
So for me, fit like even in my lowest points, of course I have Jimena, but I also have God with me. Like I'm never truly alone, and I can remind myself of that. Easier said than done. You definitely have your moments
Always.
where you're like
Yeah.
really depressed, but that is always there for me. So I would encourage people to rethink it, give it another chance. I think learning how to forgive and let go and try not to take things so personally is part of it.
You have
But
God on your side. Jimena loves you to death. You
mhm.
have that on your side. You've mentioned that quite a few times.
She's also really sexy. That helps too.
Yeah. That always helps.
Best of both worlds.
That always
Yeah.
helps. At any point, did you fall out of love with yourself? And when did that come back?
I definitely did in LA for sure. I think just feeling like a failure, kind of being angry. I don't even know what I was angry at. Like, I don't know if I was angry at myself or, I was definitely questioning, did I make the right decision? Was divorce the right decision? Was the film industry the right decision? Because now nothing's working. Um, should I have just gotten the 9 to 5 job? Would things, playing everything in your mind, would things be different if I, whatever. So yeah, I definitely stopped loving myself and definitely had some dark moments, especially like, laying in bed awake at night and just not knowing what I was doing with my life. I think having a good church that I found in LA, Church Home is their new name, which I think is a terrible name. But amazing pastor, Judah Smith, who openly will be the first to admit that the church has ruined a lot of things. The other pastors are, teaching the wrong thing and very hypocritical. So just like his going to that church and just being in a community there where there was no judgment. We had gay couples coming to the church, gay couples being involved in the church too, who felt right at home. They were loved and accepted. And just like seeing that environment. So that was something that kind of always kept me going. And then Jimena, of course, was a very big one, just really helping me kind of re-find my drive within myself and like my hope and my positivity that I always used to have. And I completely lost all my confidence. I was very confident before, because how can you do all those things I was doing
Right.
and not be confident?
Right.
And I lost like all of that. So yeah, just being able to like put all the pieces back together, I feel like is the key to that. I think is having people around you that really love you and really care about you.
Would that be your message to men right now who are like, they
Definitely.
just lost it? They lost love with themselves. Their confidence is gone. Their ego's down.
I would say
everything's out.
A big thing for me, I'm an extrovert. My therapist at one point was like, you've been isolating yourself and you're just in a downward spiral. And she was like, force yourself to call, your friend or call Jimena or call whoever and just say like, hey, just be honest and be like, hey, I'm having a really bad day. Can we hang out? What are you doing right now? Which is not an easy thing to admit either.
Right. Because you
always want to say, I'm great. Like,
Yeah.
how are you doing?
Yeah.
And I think in that process, I also learned who my real friends are and who was just
Full of shit.
Yeah. And around me for a good time, or around me for my connections or whatever it was.
Right.
So I think it's important to figure out, and now I'm much more careful with who I'm putting in my circles, but I think it's important to figure out who your real friends are and don't isolate yourself and be able to make that call and be like, like, hey bro, like my life sucks lately. Do you want to go out and like talk or go to the bar or go for a walk or hit the gym, whatever it is. And just have someone that you can kind of just, you don't even have to talk about what's going on, but just being around somebody to kind of pull you out of that makes such a huge difference and just kind of remind you of like who you really are.
Do you think that you are emotionally intelligent?
I think so.
Where does that come from, you think?
I think having parents who are good role models is part of it. I think having certain mentors in different moments of my life who are also good role models helps with that. I think going through everything I went through with divorce, losing the job, figuring out life, even the really hard, it's been really hard for Jimena and I with all the immigration stuff. That's like a whole different thing. I have a whole new like respect and heart for immigrants, and eventually want to figure out how I can do something to help immigrants because it is so hard for them, even doing it the quote unquote right way.
Yeah.
This is a separate tangent, but Jimena is doing it the right way. Went to the court to do the check-in with the judge or whatever. after we got married. She just had to like literally tell them we got married. Um, the judge does a 5-minute recess bathroom break. ICE raided the courthouse and was going through and just saying, "Do you speak Spanish? Do you speak Spanish?" And just taking everybody, arresting them. And like moms were crying and they were like, our kids are in school. They're not going to know where we are. And they were just arresting them and throwing them in the trucks. And they raided the courthouse, the people doing it the right way, so they could fill their quota of the immigrants they had to round up. And Jimena was like traumatized. I've never seen her cry like that. I was here, that was in LA, and she FaceTimed me after, like, and she was heartbroken too. And she was like, the criminals aren't the ones going to talk to the judge to change their status legally, and then ICE is gonna raid the courthouse. And Jimena looks Colombian, like she's a sexy Colombian
Yeah.
girl. They easily could have grabbed her, but she just put her head down and walked from the bathroom back into the courthouse and was just like praying that she wouldn't get grabbed, and she made it back in safely. So it's like
Wow.
the things
Surprising that the court allowed that.
yeah, I mean, ICE can do basically whatever they want. It's like unchecked power right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's a courthouse.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that.
I can understand it's a bar,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Or like a restaurant.
or a
yeah.
restaurant or something like
Yeah,
that.
they
but
raided the courthouse. It's infuriating.
it's like
Am I
rolling
saying
into
that
a
right?
church almost.
Yeah, honestly. And it's terrible what's happening right now. So yeah, if I can figure out a way, whether it's like I've already connected a couple people to a good immigration attorney that's not going to take advantage of them. So like now,
Because that's the other side of it.
yeah. So now I'm like, if I don't know, I just have a heart for immigrants at this point too. But there's been a lot we're dealing with. But I think just staying close to each other, maintaining our faith, and just supporting each other in those hard times, being there for each other in those hard times, and being there for each other in the low moments. And I mean, her and I are best friends too. So like we'll go out and party and have a good time too and have a great time together. So I think just finding the balance and everything helps a lot.
Hey, so I've been selling real estate down here in South Florida for over 20 years. And so here's the thing. I'm connected in the mortgage side and connected in the real estate side and connected in the title side. And I've expanded to all 50 states in Canada. So if you're someone that's looking to buy, sell, uh, refinance your home, get a new mortgage, or work through a title problem, reach out to us. We want to put you in the right direction, and we want to put you with the right people to help you out. If you're a real estate agent, reach out to us because we'd love to have you on the team. You've been rejected in auditions, the soccer field, relationships, the industry,
Real estate deals.
real estate deals, the city that you gave a decade to.
Right.
And you said you've mentioned that you've not allowed failure to take over, or that you reframe it. You reframe failure as actually possessing it, owning it, being in it,
Yeah.
and turning it in your favor. Which one are you doing, and which did the real process actually? How did the real process actually happen? Like, how are you really taking these failures and reframing them and turning them around and making them yours?
Yeah, I think I allow myself to have the feelings, have the negative feelings. I'm not just like, oh, that didn't happen, whatever, on to the next one. Like,
Right.
it does suck, and I will feel either down or frustrated or whatever the negative emotion, but I don't let myself, having been in a place of depression, I know like where that leads if you let those emotions take over, and just not letting myself go that deep. Like, okay, let me feel that frustration, that anger. I was door knocking the other day and this dude cursed me out to an expired, it was a $5 million expired home. Knocked on the door, dressed nice, obviously. Just did the little intro, like, hey, my name's Matt. I'm a luxury realtor in the area. I have this, address listed down the street. I saw your home expired. Are you still interested in selling? Dude freaked out on me. He's probably like late 40s, I would say. Get the fuck off my house. I'm gonna fuck you up in the street right now. You're just a fucking gay boy. I don't know. He said something else about gay people too. And at first it was so crazy. I actually laughed. I was like, what
What the
is,
fuck's going
like,
on
what
here?
is happening right now?
Do you have a camera, bro?
Joke. Like I'm showing up offering to put $5 million in your pocket. Like what?
Are we going viral?
Yeah. I'm asking to make you money. And then he just kept going. So I was just like, you know what? It took a lot for me to not to say so. I'm not gonna lie. After I
Yeah.
laughed and I realized like what was
This
happening,
guy's for real.
the initial shock was gone. It took a lot of self-control for me not to like say something back. But I was just like, you know what? Have a nice day. And then he had a fence in front of his house. So I was walking to my car. He was like following me along the fence, just cursing me out, calling me a gay boy over and over. And I just got in my car and I was like pissed for like a minute. And then I called Jimena, told her what happened, took a deep breath, and then I just went on to the next house and started door knocking again. So it's like, you gotta, I think, just learn to like allow yourself to feel the emotions. I think people who are like, you know, don't feel bad, cheer up, you know, it's a choice to be happy. It's like, that's not healthy either. You have to be able to like, it's okay to be angry.
Yeah.
It's okay to.
I agree with you. I see a
Yeah.
lot of these like male influencers that are like, there's no time for that, like,
Yeah.
something bad happens, you just put it away, keep
Yeah.
going, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah. Stay on the
But-
phone. That's not helping me feel
man up,
better.
man up.
Yeah. Yeah. Man up.
Doesn't help.
No.
I tell my wife all the time that when something bad happens to me, just give me a minute. Let me
Yeah.
go through it.
Yeah.
Because if I don't go through it, then what I'm doing is I'm pocketing it for later.
That's something I had to learn though. And I
Yeah.
think through my therapy, I learned that. Also, obviously, just throughout life, you learn how to process things. But my natural personality was like, this happened, let's talk about it in relationships, or anything, I guess, business too. This happened, let's talk about it, let's move on. But there was no time to really feel anything, and that was something giving Jimena a lot of credit here. Hope she listens. That was something Jimena was like, look, if we have an argument, like, let's take some space and calm down, and then we'll talk about it later. And it works so much better that way than
Yeah.
trying to talk about it right then. And then,
Right there, because you
and
can't.
then it
You
blows up
can't,
even
you
more.
can't,
Yeah. And you're not thinking straight because you're
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the same thing with these business failures. Feel it and then say, like, if there's something you can do better or different, obviously figure out what that is and change that next time. But if it's not, especially in real estate and any of these things, there's so much that's not in your control. There's so many different moving parts, factors, personalities. I want this amount of money. I'm not taking anything under it. Emotions with their house. My house is worth 10 times more than that guy's house. And you're like, factually, it's not, but they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things you can't control everything. So it's learning to be like, all right, I did what I could. Super frustrating. I'm going to feel that for a little bit, but then I'm going to go on to the next one because it's a numbers game. So
Yeah. It's funny. It takes a lot of people don't realize this, but it takes a very strong personality to door knock or call expireds or cold call or
it
anything,
does.
because the stuff that gets said to you at the door or
It's
on
not
the
fun.
phone.
I'm not
It
going to
is
lie. It's
not
not fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the
Or
day
people
where
degrade your ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He called me a pretty boy, which I guess is, I'll take it as a compliment.
It's like, you should see my modeling pics, right?
Right. Actually, do you want to see my modeling portfolio?
You said leaving LA was a forged moment for you,
Mhm.
and not the crash itself, but actually a decision to leave. There's a difference between being pushed out and choosing to walk. Which one was it for you? You think? And actually, which one was it for you? And does the answer actually still matter?
I think I was fighting being pushed out, and then I chose to accept that I was being pushed out.
Okay.
So maybe a mixture of both.
Okay.
I don't know if people are in a similar situation, if it matters, because one way or the other, you're getting pushed out.
Yeah.
I think it would be if you're getting forced out to accept that and not hang on to that and not, let that ruin the trajectory of your life. And if you're choosing to walk, I think that's, even though it's hard, it's easier because it is your choice that
Right.
you're making.
Right. And you're building something new now.
Yeah.
The real estate career, the show, Jimena coming to
Mhm.
South Florida soon, you
Yep.
know. But you're also still healing
Yeah.
from all of this
It'll
craziness.
probably be a process. Yeah.
Right. Where are you right now in the healing process?
Much better than when I moved here. I think as I'm starting to see momentum and some success in real estate, that has helped me. Especially with the confidence part, like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can be successful. The hard work does pay off. It's not always just running into a locked door every time or getting stuck running into this wall. There are doors that are opening for me. So I think that, that's part of like being a man. A lot of your identity is kind of tied to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe being a man in America specifically.
Yeah.
So I think that has helped me a lot, not just being in kind of this weird limbo of what my career is going to be, but having like a focus on like, okay, I can be successful in this.
Yeah.
Real estate's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
People will always be buying and selling houses.
Yeah. I always tell people we sell the one commodity everybody needs or wants.
Exactly. For forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the most valued commodity in their life. They're gonna live their life
Yeah.
there. They're gonna
For
have
most
kids,
people, it's the most
family.
expensive thing they own.
Yeah. And the most important, like,
Yeah.
they're gonna have so many memories there.
Yeah.
So, which is the other crazy thing with this ultra luxury, when you think about people like trusting the largest asset of their life with
Yeah.
you. It's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But you just have to respect that without letting that thought kind of like overwhelm you. I've talked to so many people who are like, oh, I'm too scared to go for anything over like 2 million or 3 million or whatever. I'm like, you're doing all the same work. You're interacting with people at a different tier, I guess. But it's all the same thing. You're selling a house at the end of the day. You're networking. You're marketing it. So
yeah. You mentioned in the application process that your message to men in the fires: don't go through it alone. God's always there. Things come in waves.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, but I want the version you wish somebody had said to you specifically. What's that version sound like in the specific fire that you were in, right? Not the general answer, but what you actually wish somebody had told you when you were in it.
It's a deep question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think when I was in it, I would want someone to tell me that, because what I don't like is what we talked about earlier, people who are like, like, you're only a failure if you accept that you're a failure. I think I would want someone to tell me, like, failure is a part of life sometimes. It's not the thing that defines you. Whether it's your fault or it was things out of your control, sometimes things don't work out, but you have the control to redefine yourself and take that into your own hands and use that to make a better future for yourself and use that as part of your story to inspire other people, and go through those trials and that fire to be stronger in this next chapter of your life.
Yeah.
And be more successful maybe than you would have been in what you were doing before. So I think just having someone tell me, basically, it's okay to accept this not working out. Your life's not over. You can rise even higher than you were going to rise before.
Yeah.
That's the kind of message I respond to more than the influencers that are just yelling at you to stand back up on your feet.
Tough
and
it
like,
up,
yeah,
buttercup,
exactly. Like that doesn't change what I'm going through at all.
Yeah.
So I think I would want someone to tell me, the whole like rise from the ashes like the phoenix type of
Do you think
ideal.
it would have changed anything if somebody was there to give you that message?
I may have come to Florida sooner.
Okay.
Stopped fighting as hard as I was out there. Because I mean, you know when things are not going your way anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know when the
You just
doors are closing. But
refuse to
then,
listen
yeah, and
sometimes.
you're like, well, all of these things have happened consistently. But then it's like, am I gonna change and change lanes, I guess? But the other thing I like, Matthew McConaughey said this before, that a lot of people, especially in our American ideal, and especially as men, it's like choose your one lane, stick with it. That's what you got to do. But Matthew McConaughey has said, and this stuck with me, is like life is a multi-lane highway, and you might be going down, and there might be something blocking this lane, so you go into this lane, but you're still going towards your goal, and then you switch back to this lane, but then you go towards this lane, and you're not changing your goals or ruining your life, but you might have to like
Move around.
move around a little bit, but it's not like you failed because there was something blocking this lane. You didn't fail. You're just
You're
going here.
shifting.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
that always stuck with me, that mindset.
Yeah. It's funny that you were speaking earlier about, hearing the message sooner, and I always go back to that story that we've all heard, about the guy's boat who goes down and he's in the water and he's like, God save me. You know the story I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And like, a little boat comes, hey, come on in. He's like, no, God's going to save me.
Yeah.
Navy ship,
Yeah.
no, God's going to save me. Then he dies. He's like, what happened? And God's like, dude, I sent you a boat, a raft, a Navy ship.
Right.
What did you want? You know?
Exactly.
And oftentimes I think about, the fires that we're going through, especially as men. You've mentioned it a couple of times, American men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like our mission in life is to be successful, keep a roof over our families' heads, make their lives less stressful, keep food on the table. And if we're really good at this, we'll have a surplus of money to help them see the world and put them in good schools. And
that is your whole identity and your
that's
legacy.
Everything.
Yeah.
Bring them opportunity so that when you're lying on your deathbed, you could say, I took care of them.
Right.
Right. And oftentimes when we're going through these fires, we're fighting them because in our heads, we're thinking, no, man, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And I think I've come to that realization quite a few times, and then you just got to stand back and go, wait a minute. Like, hey man, are you sending me messages?
Yeah.
Like
you definitely got to be open to receiving. I mean, there's the whole like the hustle grind mentality, which of course is important.
Yeah.
But I think when that becomes your full identity and your, like the most misquoted Bible verse is people say the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
No, people say money is the root of all evil. But the actual quote is the love of money is the root of all evil. So when like the money becomes like your everything and I got to make this money, and then something goes wrong and you lose it. And then it's like, who am I? What do I have? Which maybe happened to me a little bit when my career, I guess, was my identity and my relationship was my identity, my marriage. And I lost everything at once and didn't really know who I was at the time. So I think if you are secure with who you are, you can get through those moments and still be okay and still bounce back a lot quicker than having to like go through a whole depression, like rock bottom.
Right.
So,
but again, I think for some of us, we need to go through it to know. You got to learn, right? Some people don't learn.
I wouldn't be where I am now without
that
going through all that. Yeah,
and that's important to know.
Yeah,
that's important to know. One of the things I read recently, which really I took to, is one of the reasons why the most famous men in the Bible, the King David's, the King Solomon's, is because they had so much faith in God that they truly believed that nothing they had belonged to them. Mm-hmm. That it was all God's.
Yeah.
And he had put it there for them, but it didn't belong to them.
Yeah.
They never had the possession of money, even though they were wealthy.
Right. They were kings. Yeah.
They were kings, right? And everything that they had, they didn't actually possess.
Yeah.
And, after I read that, I really started thinking about that and how powerful that could be if you just allowed.
Yeah. I mean, eventually we're all going to
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
We're not taking it with us when we
No,
die.
we're not. If
So,
you just allowed it to happen, how great
yeah.
that would
I
be.
think generosity is a big thing too. When you're willing to, like, you're not so tied. You can give it, whether it's organizations or helping other people, or I think generosity is a really big thing. And I mean, in my life, when I've helped other people, that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
You feel so good
Yeah.
and happy when you help somebody else
Yeah.
versus just being selfish and like
Right.
hoarding everything for yourself. So I think learning to be able to let go of that and not be so tied to it is a big thing too.
So let's put a date on this. When is Jimena coming to Miami, man?
When is Jimena coming? November.
When we doing the barbecue, man?
She'll be here for like 5 days at the end of June if you wanna get some drinks. But moving here officially, we're gonna say November because we're gonna switch. We don't want to move Jacob mid school semester.
Right.
So if we move him, and our contract with our apartment there is till October, so we're like, we might as well just pay another month till November, make it easier for him, move him here, and
To have the
and start
transition.
the next semester.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for the school thing, a lot sooner.
Maybe sooner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's
Well, that's incredible
that's where we're
news,
at,
man.
yeah.
That's incredible news.
we're almost there. We're
Yeah.
almost there.
Dude, what is, worth the sacrifice?
I think so. It's been really hard, but
Yeah.
it'll be worth it. I'll say that. It'll be
It's
worth it.
funny because I said to you, I go, I don't know that I can do it. And I don't know that many men could sacrifice that much, because that's a big sacrifice.
It takes a lot of love. It takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of communication.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk every day. We FaceTime all the time, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I know, I traveled quite a bit for our title company, and so many months I was gone half the month, and with that I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was talking to an actor. He was on a pretty big show on The Last Kingdom. Did you ever see that on Netflix?
No.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I'm spacing on this guy's name, but he was the lead actor. It's like a medieval when the Vikings are kind of being phased out and England is taking over. So it kind of follows his journey. He was like, if I'm remembering correctly, he was like born with the Danes, the Vikings, and then kind of moves over to England. But very good show. I met that actor at a Oscars event in LA, and I had actually just filmed to show casting directors. I had just filmed a monologue. Went to the forest, produced it, got my costume, did my makeup, so I have a Viking monologue.
Yeah.
Came out really good. Showed him, and he was like, man, if I met you while we were filming the show, because they had wrapped it after like 5 seasons, he was like, if I'd met you while we were filming the show, I would have thrown you in the mix and put you in here. But he was telling me that like he has a thing with his wife because he's traveling everywhere for acting. He was like, we can't go more than 2 weeks without seeing each other. So I'll either fly home for a weekend or she'll fly out to set for a weekend.
Wow.
And I feel like that's if you're in a place where you can afford that financially,
right,
that's a good thing to do.
That's a big difference.
That's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's, lead actor.
Yeah, I mean, they're making
really strong,
they're making plenty of money to work. She can fly whenever. But I think I thought that was a cool rule. So you could maintain the relationship versus, people who are happy to get away from home for 6 months and do their own thing.
To close out the show, what's the ultimate goal for Matt?
The ultimate goal for me in life, or like specifically?
Just speak on it, man. Life, love, work, business.
That's a lot of different things.
Yeah. But if you had to sum it down and make it simple.
I want to be able to leave a positive and lasting impact on the people around me and the people I interact with in my business, whether it's an audience watching a show that I did, or it's someone whose, house I sold or helped them buy their dream house or whatever it is, or just helping people just for the sake of helping them. I want to be able to have them look back and be like, Matt is just a great guy and a very loving person and an example of what a loving husband and a good father should be, and a model of what a successful businessman in America could be.
Love that. That's amazing. Matt, thanks for doing this show with me, dude.
Thanks for having me.
It means the world to me. Honestly,
Tell me when episode 2 is. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's go. I'm really excited that we did this show. It was fun doing research on you.
Yeah, it was like you guys really did your research when you sent me that paragraph. I was like, I didn't say all this in my answers.
It was fun doing research on you, and I was like, oh, there's a lot more here than than Matt's alluding to.
I've done a lot of things.
But that's cool, man. You said 36?
36.
Dude, you've done a lot. You've done a lot. I mean, hell of accomplishments, and that says a lot. And I wish you and Jimena and Jacob a tremendous amount of success and love and happiness.
I appreciate that.
Again, thank you for doing this.
We're going out to drinks with Jen when she's in town.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Every man has a story. Some hide it, some bury it. But when you share it, it becomes the torch for someone else's path. Remember, the fire doesn't burn to break you, it burns to build you. If today's conversation moved you, share it. And if you're in the middle of your own fire, keep walking. You are not alone. This is Forged into Man. I'm David Adam Kurz. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and stay forged.